29 after 6. This is a business breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Nitra Hammond. Thank you very much for choosing us this morning. The song in the background is Daughters of Glorious Jesus, Untabine. Under the wings of our Maker. This morning, may you be under the wings of the Lord. May you be under the covering, under the shield. There's a part that says, it means that the enemy or the devil looks for me and cannot find me because I hide under the I hide under the wind, the winds of God. This morning, where are you hiding? Are you sure you have some covering? I pray for you that may the Lord cover your business. May the Lord cover everything that concerns you, your family, and everything that you own. Well, let me run you through what we have for you today. As usual, we're starting with our news review. And then right after that, Samuela Entry comes your way with business news. And then, of course, Lukman Evergreen Mooming takes over with Sports Flash, bringing us the latest in the world of sports. And then I come your way with Business Brief. Then Solomon Tetenate takes over with Transport Today, giving you all the local flight schedules, as well as the traffic situation in town to help you navigate the capital. Then we get into market trends. And yesterday, the report for inflation was released. We'll talk about that in our market trends today. And then, of course, we wrap up everything with our roundtable discussion. Very important stuff you don't want to miss. So please don't go anywhere. We kickstart our news review segment right away. Stay tuned. All right, thank you very much for choosing us this morning. This is the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Nitra Hammond. Time for us to get into our news review this morning. I'll run you through a few of the headlines, and then we try to break a few of them down. And starting with the New Finder newspaper, this one says Ghana extends oil licenses to 2040 in $2 billion deal. And also, full rankings, Ghana drops to 31st in Africa. Stories on page 8 of the New Finder newspaper. And this one says, May inflation falls to 18.4%, lowest since early 2022. Story is on page 9 of the New Finder newspaper. You want to grab a copy and look at that. And this one says that overscripting kills influencer trust. coming from a tech content creator and brand influencer. And also, brands edge to prioritize fit over fame in influencer marketing. And debt restructuring key to Ghana's economic boost. And analyst says that. And also, this one says Mahama sets up committee to drive economic dialogue reforms. And voter police intercept 1 million Ghana cedis in fertilizer bags heading to Kumasi. And also, this one says 50 million Ghana cedis boost for Ghana's National Research Fund to power innovation. And nurses strike disrupts healthcare nationwide. And WAEC flags rising exam or practices in Bono East and Halfo regions. And also, Ganmache calls for inclusion of traditional rites in National Thanksgiving Day. And Comac explains factors behind fuel prices despite CD appreciation. And smart farming key to saving Ghana's environment and economy, coming from the Agric Minister. And Parliament approves 1 Ghana cedi fuel levy to fix energy debt. And government clears NEET arrears, inaugurates new board. And also, this one says Finance Minister promises strong CD and low prices. And fuel rankings, Ghana, okay, I already mentioned that. CD dips amid rising dollar demand on currency market. And also, May inflation, okay, I already read that one too. I think these are a few of the headlines. Okay, this one says Ghana bids farewell to raw gold exports by 2026. And all of that in the New Finder newspaper. Now, let's look at myjoyonline.com. The top story says Ghana 1 cedi fuel levy. It's not new, just a fix for power sector's liquidity crisis coming from Kwabena Donko. And energy sector levy raised 9 billion Ghana cedis, but power crisis persists. AOMC, Association of Oil Marketing Companies CEO, says that. And also, Baumia slams NDC says they've told a lie by introducing Doomsor levy after removing e-levy. And also, Mahama to set up interministerial committee to implement economic dialogue recommendations. And Ivory Coast's final electoral list excludes opposition leader Thiam. And also, President Mahama justifies new petroleum levy as difficult but necessary. And NIB declares 3 more suspects wanted in $350 million cocaine bust. And on City Newsroom, June 3rd disaster was avoidable. Professor Gordon. That's the top story on City Newsroom. And also, NAPO confirms NIB probe into his tenure as Education Minister. And no more extensions after June 21 deadline. Gold Board warns unlicensed traders. And brace for more taxes under Mahama. Baumia warns Ghanaians. And also, target food inflation to sustain disinflation. Economist says that. And this one says politics indiscipline caused a June 3rd disaster, coming from Henry Quarty. And Ablekuma North protest. IGP should have dismissed petition and arrested NPP MPs. Tanko says that. And call off illegal strike immediately. NLC directs nurses and midwives. These are a few of the stories making waves locally. On the international front, Trump bans travel from 12 countries to the US. Interesting. We want to look at that story. And also, 7 of those countries are from Africa. All right, these are a few of the headlines this morning. We want to just break them down. I have joining me over the phone lines Abel and Soliwin Amodiok, who is a news review pundit here, and he's a governance and policy strategist. And also Michael Akpene-Afolabi, also a news review pundit here. These are the 2 gentlemen helping me break down the headlines this morning. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Raphael. Good morning.
Yeah, good to have the 2 of you. Abel, how are you doing?
Ralph, I'm doing very well. Good morning, and it's nice to be back on air. And good morning to all our cherished listeners.
Great. Thank you very much for making time to speak to us. Michael, I hope you're doing well too.
I'm doing well, by God's grace.
Great.
And good morning to our cherished listeners as well.
Great. Good to have the 2 of you this morning. So we'll just try and break down a few of the headlines. On the front page of the New Finder newspaper, this one says May inflation falls to 18.4%, which is the lowest since the early 2022. I think that's some good news coming in there. Let me hear from you, Michael, on this one.
Yes. As you rightly put it, it's very good news. Inflation rates continue to drop, significantly, and it's positive for our economy going forward. And we just continue to hope that for the rest of the year we see these significant drops, right? Rather than a bit of an appreciation or significant appreciation again. We should be able to see stability in our inflation rate, so that, as usual, it will help entities, it will help investors, and be able to understand the climate of Ghana's business better, so that they can have some certainty for their investments as well. But all the same, it's great to see inflation continue to grow.
Right. Abel, you have anything to say to that?
Yeah, Nick, I think very positive. What it means is that the indicators are beginning to work together. There are concerns that if you have your exchange rate appreciating, sharply, like we saw in May, and from April to May, and then still your inflation was very high, and also maybe by and large, which affected goods and services within the economy, then it doesn't make sense. So you ought to see that a gradual decline across board. But this time too, you realize that it's been very sharp from, I think it hovered around 22, 21, was just going down by some 0.2, 0.1 here and there. But this time, you can see the sharp decline from about 21 to 18. Generally, a reduce in inflation means that the rate at which prices of goods and commodities will increase will be very lower, and that also means that somehow it will bring relief to a lot of consumers within the system. So a low inflation rate is very positive. Then you also have to look at this in the context of the budget for 2025. What is the target for 2025? Is government on course to achieve its target, and what that will mean for the general economy? So by and large, very positive news there. I think one of our former vice president, he says that the economy is your pocket. So at the end of the day, it is what we feel in our pocket that really matters. But it's good to see that the indicators generally across the macro economy are beginning to respond to each other. And if they are responding, it means that whatever injection that government is applying to the victim, in this case the Ghanaian economy, the injection is working across board. And we can only hope that the treatment continues coordinatively. We are seeing fiscal, monetary aligned this time. And I've heard a lot of analysts with deep knowledge in the sector, praise government for that alignment that we've not seen in a very long time. Usually monetary policy aspect led by Bank of Ghana will be doing everything possible. And, the physical side led by the finance minister will just be there spending recklessly, borrowing here and there. But you can see that government commitment to fiscal discipline is on track. And I think we've got to commend the government for staying, because, on the back of the many promises that brought it to power, it was not just about the old regime exiting because people were tired. I think the other point was that there were some good promises made, and people significantly want to see how different this John Dramani Mahama administration can be. And so, positive news. Let's see how everything goes by end of year. But I'm hoping that we see some positive strides from this particular reduction going forward.
Right. I mean, very, very good points raised there, Abel. Let's look at some other stories. So yesterday, President Mahama received the report from the Economic Dialogue, the 2024 National Economic Dialogue, and he has set up a committee to drive the economic dialogue reforms. I don't know if you have anything to say to that, Abel.
Yes, literally. I think in March, right? Yeah. So the dialogue was done in March. I think, per my understanding, some proposals from the dialogue, including a budget that achieves a surplus, were incorporated into the 2025 budget. Some significant agreements, or let me say resolutions, have been reached, and it is my understanding. I've not cited the report yet. I've not gone through it yet, but I followed the entire dialogue very much with enthusiasm, and I think some of the conviction that if we are, I don't think government is going to take everything hook, line, and sinker.
Right.
But if we are able to do 40 to 50% of the recommendations in there, our homegrown policy strategy should be strong enough to withstand some, whether external and internal pressure. You see, we are not saying that the economy cannot derail. We are not saying that, for example, the trade tariff war that has gone on between the U.S., Canada, China, and other European counterparts cannot affect our economy. We are not saying that where there is war externally, it does not have an impact on our economy. We are bound. I mean, if you are in a global economy where supply chain activities work interconnected, then any disruption in any part of the world would affect you. In fact, within Africa here, where our intra-trade is very low, but recently has grown exponentially, if there is any disruption in Africa, it will affect us. We agree. But we are saying that the economy, what type of economy are we building? Does the economy have strong buffers that in the case where both internal and external shocks arise, at least it should be able to withstand some of those pressures in a manner that citizens do not feel the full force of that particular shock. You understand me? So if your economy cannot withstand such shocks, then you are in trouble. Then what it means is that if you make like the small significant changes that we've seen in our microeconomy, you know, a small twist externally, then boom, the city is back to 16 cities, 17 cities. Boom, inflation is back to 40%, 30%. Then what really are we? You know, then we exist at the mercies of other countries. That is not how you run an economy. You know, the economy must be stable. It must be able to withstand some sort of pressure, even when things go wide off. It must be able to still withstand some of those, and that depends on how you strategically manage that economy, build in buffers. You know, like we used to have stabilization fund, sinking fund, and all that. That you are able to kind of cushion your very economy when things doesn't go well. So the dialogue was very important, bringing experts, analysts, everybody, stakeholders in the economy, and everybody. They are thinking, all the professors, University of Ghana, UCC, and all, with so many ideas. It was very important bringing all of them together for them to prescribe going forward what should be the line that government should toe in ensuring that it builds our economy in a way that makes it resilient. If government is able to do about 40 to 50%, like I'm saying, and stay true to some of those recommendations, I think in the long run, we should be good. in the long run, we should be good. In the short term, people want quick results. We'll not get some of those short-term reliefs that people want. But if we stick to some of the ideas that I followed, presented by various people, especially from the trade and industry side, if you look at the conversation on export, very important. Do we continue raw exportation, or we have to significantly improve in adding value? How do you add value if you have not industrialized? How do you add value when you don't have agro-processing industries across your country? How do you export finished products? So that cannot happen in the short term. But in the long term, that can happen. What is your plan in transitioning to such a phase where you can do finished or added value to your export? Do you understand? So these things, government has to be very committed. And I see the launch of the 20. I think maybe one of these days we can go into the 24-hour economy policy. I think it comes with the accelerated export development policy program that have been put together. I think that much of the conversations that happen at the dialogue have found their way into that document. I've done an initial scan. Some of the strategies, fantastic. Right. Is usually the implementation that is the problem. So let's see how it goes. But I think the report, it will be interesting. Maybe that we can find some day and then go into details of that particular report, and then see how it's going to help.
I hope it's going to be made public. I hope it's going to be made public.
I'm sure. I think usually what government does is the government will now have to look at it and then maybe issue a paper on it, like where it agrees and maybe where it disagrees. Usually, if it's a commission of inquiry, we say government will issue a white paper. I don't know, as for a committee report, I don't know what government will do. Right. But I think government will study it where it disagrees or where it agrees. It will still issue a paper on that, and then it will release. I think that it is important that the report is released to the general public for all of us to have.
The only challenge will be that maybe the government doesn't agree with everything in there and it's out there. Then we're going to hold them accountable and probe further. But anyway, we hope that they release it so that we can also discuss it here and then make sense of it. All right, but let's move on now. The 1 cedi fuel, fuel levy that has been introduced. I have seen you, Abel, make some point on your WhatsApp status and all of that, but we're not bringing status here. Well, let me hear from Michael. Michael, what do you think about that? I personally, I have seen the whole idea. I think that it's a good idea to introduce this because of the debts that we are facing, and oftentimes when we are introducing certain taxes and levies, we don't communicate what exactly they will be used for. We just feel like government needs revenue, and then we are just finding ways to raise revenue, and then we do that, and that is all. But in this particular case, we have seen that we know where this money is going to, where this 1 cedi. But what the government has failed to tell us, I haven't seen, is how long they're going to take. They're going to collect this particular levy, and when they plan to stop. Because if you say you are using it to pay fix the energy debt, then indeed it should fix it, and then once it is done, we can take it off, and then people can go back to their normal lives. And so those are some of the nuances in there, really. So let me hear from you, Michael, on this one.
Well, first of all, let me say that this government, particularly the NDC government, has shown a lot of dedication and interest in solving our energy sector challenges. In 2013, when President Mahama first came and met Dumso, that he was going to solve Dumso, and he did his best to reduce significantly electricity challenges. And then this time to with the challenge of the energy sector legacy debt, and has with the Ministry of Finance and then the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition has come with this energy sector levy, right? Like you are saying, we have been in this country and we have seen taxes or levies being collected, and we haven't been told what these levies are going to be used for.
Right.
But this one, we have been told what the tax is going to, what the levy is going to be used for, and so it's hope that at the end of the day, when the implementation of this tax is successful, we'll see development in our power supply, we'll see improvement we'll see the reduction in our legacy debt significant.
Right.
Like you are saying, when the tax is going to have, when the tax is going to end and all that, it all depends on government. For instance, government has a revenue projection of 5.7 billion Ghana cedis raised. I don't know how long it's seen the period in which it's expecting to reach that revenue. Right? And so let's see how government goes with that. I don't know if once that 5.7 billion Ghana cedis is raised, the tax is going to be scrapped, or the tax is going to continue, or maybe the amount charged is going to reduce. But I think that as long as we have the assurance from the President, from the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Energy, that the fuel prices are not going to increase, right, so much so as to affect the consumer's payment of this levy, then I think that we will see the tax running for some time, right? That if this assurance given actually works, right? That see the levy running for some time, because whether I like it or not, the energy sector debt is quite huge, over $3.1 billion.
Yeah.
And the Minister of Finance said we need around $3.7 billion to defray that cost. So even that 5.7 billion Ghana cedis that we are projecting may not be entirely enough to cover the whole debt, right? So that means the tax is going to be around for some time. But as long as we are able to stabilize the fuel prices such that we do not feel the pinch too much, although we'll feel it. I mean, it's painful. Taxation is hard. Levies are hard to pay, right? But it's for the greater good, it's for the future, and for the benefit of our energy sector. So I think that we should embrace it. We should support government. And of course, once they have told us what they are going to use the money for specifically, we should hold accountable. And then we should soon see signs of these doing the work they are supposed to.
Okay, right. Let me hear from you in a minute. I wanted us to look at the international story on the ban, the travel ban. Maybe in a minute you can just touch on that if you want to mention anything.
Yes, I mean, I think, like you rightly said, as for the purpose of levies, they always come. You know, when you go to Parliament, anytime you are sending a bill to Parliament, it comes with an accompanying memorandum that details what the tax is intended, or the rationale for that particular policy and what it's intended to achieve. In this case, I think that in the short run, we are not expected to feel the impact of the levy. For example, if you look at the fact that petroleum prices were hovering around 15 cedis per liter, and then the other products in equal margin, you know. So that has significantly come to about maybe some stations, some OMCs are pegging it around 11 cedis, others around 12 cedis. So because of what we've witnessed on the exchange rate appreciation and its consequential effect on the fuel market, we've seen those reductions. Not only that, I think there have been some international dimensions to it too.
Yeah.
So if this particular increment will just be, let's say, if it is 12 cities now, that will go to 13 cities. So it means means that consumers will still not be worse off, even though that is an increase. Because if you look at the fact that you were at 15 cedis per litre and you are now somewhere 12, and government is adding an additional 1 cedi, that will take you to maybe 13 cedis. So consumers will still not be worse off. But the point is that will also be an increment. And so if somebody was enjoying something at 12 cedis and got 13 cedis, then it changes the household dynamics. So I think on that score, I agree that those concerns are legitimate.
Right.
The other concern is that levies have been collected to resolve particular challenges, and we've not seen those challenges resolved. In fact, this is not a new levy. This is just an increment in the levy. The energy sector levy has been there. ESLA, initially introduced by the John Mahama administration, first administration. ESLA was supposed to do 5 years or so, and then was increased to about 15 years under the Akufo-Addo regime, and eventually collateralized for loan, for some loans. And so and ESLA was supposed to resolve our legacy debt issues. So the point is that, did ESLA do so? You see, and that is where people have genuine concerns that levies are introduced to resolve some particular challenges. At the end of the day, they don't resolve the challenges. The challenges even grow more. And that is where I think that I agree with a lot of Ghanaians who are calling for transparency and accountability in how some of these things issues are managed. So, very positive call. It's up to government to show that it is really committed to ensuring that whatever promises it makes, it keeps those promises. Because if you look at the 5.7 billion cedis that is expected by end of year annually from this particular levy, it will still not resolve the issues in purchasing fuel, the liquid fuel that is needed to run some of the plants. So it means that whilst you are raising this revenue, you must plan proactively to address other challenges in the energy sector, or else the levy will not do much. And I think that is where a lot of energy analysts are saying that government must look at bold reforms within the energy sector. Introducing tax alone will not resolve the issue. So I agree to a large extent on some of those conversations.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for making time to speak to me. We couldn't look at the other story. Hopefully, we can touch on it if there's some development tomorrow. But please, I'm grateful that you made time to speak to me. All right, that was Michael Akpene-Afolabi and also Abel and Solomon Amodiok helping me break down the headlines this morning. Up next is Business News with Samuel Entry. Please stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to the business news segment on Business Breakfast on Zed. I am Samuela Inchi. Coming up shortly in the bulletin, Gold Board set final June 21 deadline for gold trading license. And also May inflation eases again, marking fifth straight monthly drop. On the international scene, European stocks rise ahead of expected ECB rate cut. Let's settle for the details. The Ghana Gold Board, also known as Gold Board, has issued a final warning to all unlicensed gold traders across the country that there will be no further extensions after the June 21, 2025 deadline. Gold Board Chief Executive Officer Sami Jemfi announced that individuals trading gold without a valid license after the deadline will face prosecution. The warning comes after a 1-month extension was granted, moving the original deadline from May 21 to June 21, 2025. In a meeting with the Chamber of Licensed Gold Buyers, Gold Board called on all stakeholders to support the government effort to ensure full compliance with licensing requirements. The Chamber of Licensed Gold Buyers has pledged its support for the initiative and is urging all members to register before the final deadline. The directive is part of a broader effort to sanitize Ghana's gold trading sector and ensure all activities are conducted within the legal framework. The message is clear. June 21 is the final deadline, and traders must be licensed to operate beyond that date. Away from that, Ghana's headline inflation eased further to 18.4% in May, down from 21.2% in April, and thus the fifth consecutive month of decline at the lowest level since February 2022. The Ghana Statistical Service attributes this to steady macroeconomic improvement, including a stronger cedi, tight monetary policy, and improved market confidence. Monthly inflation also dropped slightly to 0.7% in May. Food inflation remains high at 22.8%, but it's down from April's 25%. Non-food inflation saw a sharper decline to 14.4%, with significant drops in transport, housing, and utility cost. Inflation in goods continued to outpace services, with non-durable goods like food and personal care items pushing overall prices up. Core inflation, which strips out energy and food, also dropped to 18.5%. Regionally, 15 out of 16 regions recorded lower inflation, with Ahafo posting the lowest at 14.5%. Upper West region remains the most affected, hitting 38.1%, driven by high food, education, and housing cost. Top price drives for May included yam, smoked herring, seafood, vegetable oil, and ginger, which saw a sharp price increase of over 139%. Government targets an inflation rate of 11.9% by December, and the current trend shows cautious progress toward that goal. Away from that, as Ghana continues to record falling inflation, a leading economist is calling for targeted action on food prices to sustain the trend. Speaking to the media, Professor Patrick Isumin said while the latest inflation drop to 18.4% in May is encouraging, food remains the biggest driver of inflation volatility. He noted that the strengthening of the cedi, lower fuel prices, and reduced transport fares have all contributed to easing inflation. However, without addressing persistent pressures in the food sector, the gains could be short-lived. Professor Sumin urged government to focus on investment in food production and distribution, especially as the country enters the planting season. He emphasized that supporting farmers and improving supply chains will be key to ensuring continued disinflation in the months ahead. Food inflation currently stands at 22.8%, accounting for nearly 2/3. On the international scene, credit ratings agency Fitch has downgraded the African Export-Import Bank Afreximbank to BBB-, just one notch above junk status. The downgrade comes with a negative outlook, citing rising credit risk and concerns over the bank's exposure to debt-distressed countries like Ghana, Zambia, and Malawi. Fitch flagged weak risk management and low transparency, noting a sharp difference between Afreximbank's reported bond loans and Fitch's own estimates. While the bank claims a 2.4% non-performing loan ratio, Fitch puts it at over 7%. The downgrade raises questions about Afreximbank's growing role as a lender of last resort and its ability to maintain preferred creditor status, especially as calls grow for it to join sovereign debt relief efforts. Conflicting reports between the bank and Guinean authorities over repayment status have only added to investor concerns. A downgrade into junk territory could increase borrowing costs for the bank, limiting its ability to support African economies. Afreximbank has yet to comment publicly on the downgrade. To our last story for the bulletin, European stocks are set to open higher today as investors await the European Central Bank's monetary policy decision expected at 2:15 p.m. Central European Time. Markets are widely pricing in a 25 basis point cut to the ECB's key interest rate, which could lower the deposit facility rate to 2%. Analysts say inflation in the Eurozone is nearing control, but economic growth may remain sluggish due to global trade uncertainties and cautious consumer spending. Meanwhile, British fintech firm Wise has announced plans to shift its primary stock listing to the United States, maintaining a secondary listing in London, a move seen as a setback for the London Stock exchange. And that's what we have for the business news segment on Business Breakfast on Zed. But before we go, let's take a recap of our top stories. Gold Board has set final June 21 deadline for gold trading license. And also May inflation has eased again, marking fifth straight monthly drop. And on the international scene, European stocks rise ahead of expected ECB rate cut. You can get more business news on www.zmultimedia.com. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms. ZFMGH on Instagram, Facebook and X, and Z Multimedia on TikTok and YouTube. I am Samuela Adri. Thanks for listening. Up next, a Sports Flash with Lukeman Evergreen Moment.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
The stage is set for something special.
It is time to go racing.
God, that's so. Oh, wow! Oh, wow!
LeBron James with no regard for human life. You couldn't write a script like this.
Here's Metzer. This is Positive Williams.
Kudos! The Korean joy did not last for long.
Oh my gosh, kudos.
Step back for Partey. Oh yes, Thomas Partey!
Hello, good morning. It's time for Sports Flash on Business Breakfast on Zed. My name is Lukeman Evergreen Moment. Accra House of Folk looks set to make some managerial changes, and Kwesi Nyantakyi, the former GFA boss, is in the news following a brilliant philanthropic initiative. Now, Chelsea have landed their first signing of the summer, and at the Roland Garros, there are only 4 men standing. Finally, in the NBA, the final will be beginning tonight. But then we begin with some Ghana Premier League news, and Accra House of Folk have reportedly reached an agreement in principle to appoint Maxwell Kunedu as their new head coach. The former Asante Kotoko and Black Stars assistant coach is expected to take over from Abubakar Ouattara, who will transition into the role of a technical director. The Phobians are currently finalizing the details of the agreement with Kunedu, who has been out of a job since parting ways with South African club Black Leopards. Talking about Kunedu, he joined former Ghana FA president Kwesi Nyantakyi on his prisons football project. The ex-FA boss and Kunedu, alongside several members of the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana, visited the Nsawam prison to inspire the inmates not to give up despite their condition. And here is Kunedu reacting after meeting the inmates in Nsawam.
Yeah, I met a lot of people I know. Some are even coming from my hometown that I never knew were here. But due to 1 or 2 mistakes, they may find themselves here. It is clear that little mistakes, a very little patient that we should have had, would have saved him his life out there. But one of them just couldn't tell me what really happened. He just said that it's due to the many friends he had that landed him here. So we'll continue to visit them. I mean, they need us. We come here, we learn a lot. So I think it was a good trip. It was a good idea. Whatever we came here to do has really paid off.
Well, that was former Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Black Stars assistant coach Maxwell Kunedu speaking there. Meanwhile, Kwesi Nyantakyi shared the motivation behind the latest initiative as he seeks to give back to society.
My friend is here. He's a former footballer of Upper West Heroes and the first chairman of Wow Stars, Alaji Yunusa. He's just around. So he was jailed in and transferred to Nsawam. 2 weeks ago, I came and visited him. And that was the motivation for me to pay attention to the prisons. And I felt that if we paid more attention to the prisons, it will help the society.
Well, that is former Ghana Football Association President Kwesi Nyantechi speaking there. The Ghana Football Association has assured of a swift action to settle the case involving Nations FC and Basake Holy Stars. The matchday 33 game between the two Ghana Premier League clubs on Sunday came to an abrupt end after Nations FC protested against a second contentious penalty which was awarded to the home side. This led to chaos and violence, after which Nations FC walked off. Two Ghanaian players abroad, Galatasaray are interested in signing Atletico Bilbao forward in Naki Williams as they look to strengthen their squad ahead of the new season. The Turkish Super League champions are monitoring the 30-year-old Ghana international following his strong performances in the La Liga in the just-ended season. Ghanaian team sensation Bismarck Ejuoji has completed a 5-year move to Danish Super League side Vejle Boot Club from Ghana Premier League outfit Bechem United. The highly rated 18-year-old, a standout performer for the Ghana U20 national team, the Black Satellite, will join Vejle's first team setup ahead of the 2025-2026 season. Still with Ghanaian players, Manchester United are reportedly exploring the possibility of a swap deal involving Mohamed Kudus and Jadon Sancho as they look to reinforce their attacking options ahead of the new season. Yesterday, there were some actions in the UEFA Nations League. Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 137th international goal for Portugal as they came from a goal down to beat Germany and reach the Nations League final. Florian Wirtz opened the scoring for the Germans before Francesco Conceição leveled for Portugal, with Ronaldo tapping home the winner. Now, Portugal will await the winner of the game between France and Spain in the final on Sunday. Well, Ivan Toney, who plays in the Saudi Pro League with Cristiano Ronaldo, says that he never feared his move to Saudi Arabia would affect his England ambitions and is ready to prove he is as good as ever upon his return to the international setup. The 29-year-old has been recalled for the first time since making a money-spinning switch from Brentford to Al Ahly shortly after helping Gareth Southgate's side reach the Euro 2024 final.
You know what it is? Everyone always has their opinion. They're gonna have their opinion on everything. You have to witness it and be there to realize what it's like. You can't have an opinion on something you've never seen. People always just assume certain things about things without seeing it. So I suggest people have a look before they start making judgment. Yeah, it's not easy. There's some good footballers and it's going in the right direction, and I'm sure it'll continue to do that over the years.
Well, so Ivan Toney won the Asian Champions League with Al Ahly of Saudi Arabia in the just concluded campaign. To some transfer news, Chelsea have completed the signing of striker Liam Delap from Ipswich Town for £30 million. The 22-year-old has signed a 6-year contract at Stamford Bridge after the Blues met a release clause in his Ipswich deal that was activated following their relegation from the Premier League. Now, Jack Grealish is expected to be left out of the Manchester City squad for the FIFA Club World Cup in the United States of America. The 29-year-old's future at Etihad Stadium is unclear heading into the summer transfer window amid a growing sense he would benefit from a move before next season. Away from football to some tennis news, and Novak Djokovic continued his quest for a standalone record 25th Grand Slam title by swatting aside third seed Alexander Zverev to reach the semi-final of the French Open. The 38-year-old seed won 4-6, 6-3, 6-2, 6-4 to set up a meeting with world number 1 Yannick Sinner on Friday. Now Sinner cruised into the last four with a ruthless straight set victory over Kazakhstan's Alexander Bublik earlier on Wednesday. Now here is the Italian after his victory over the Kazakhstani.
Yes, obviously very happy to be again in the semis here. Is a very special place for me. I felt like today I was very consistent from the back of the court, and I think that paid off a lot throughout the whole match, and I'm very happy.
Well, so that was Yannick Sinner speaking after defeating Alexander Bublik. He will be facing Novak Djokovic in the semi-final of the French Open. Well, the NBA finals will begin tonight with Game 1 between the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunders happening in Indianapolis. That will be all for sports this morning. My name is Lukman Evergreen Moment. Business Breakfast on Zed continues with Nitra B. Hammond.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Dream home. No interest for 2 years. Are you ready to step into your dream home? With Lakeside Estate's exclusive offer, you can own your own home in just 2 years with no interest repayment. This offers you affordable payments, flexible home purchase plan, quality homes, and lifestyle choice. Choose from a variety of beautiful homes in any of Lakeside Hills clusters. Your future awaits you. Imagine living in a home you love with the freedom to invest in your dreams without the burden of interest. As your CIMG Real Estate Company of the Year for the 4th time, we offer you hassle-free home acquisition. Call us today on 020-477-5040 or 020-141-8622. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Call us now to learn more and schedule a tour for our available homes. TNC supplied. Make your dream a reality. Lakeside Estate. Quality homes for all.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Yeah.
right, welcome back to the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. The song in the background is Diana Hamilton, Praise. Back to back praise. Right, bringing us at 7:30. This is a Business Breakfast on Zed. You heard the Lookman Evergreen Moomin, the Sports Flash, and also Samuela Entry with business news. Right about now, I bring you Business Brief. We're talking about something very important this morning. Please stay tuned. All right, thank you very much. Now let's get into Business Brief. This morning we're talking about something that a lot of people try to ignore. And did you know that compatibility is not only in marriage or relationship? Compatibility is also in business, at the workplace. How compatible people are actually affects their delivery. And that is why this morning we're going to talk about how personality and temperament shape work styles. Now, let me start by asking you a simple but important question. Have you ever wondered why that one brilliant employee always seems to resist collaboration? Or why a high-performing team suddenly falls apart under pressure? Have you ever wondered why? Listen, it's rarely about competence. It is almost always about compatibility or the lack of it. And the truth is that we spend so much time trying to optimize skills, but we often overlook what really drives people, which is their temperament. Now, according to a study by CPP Incorporated, the makers of the MBTI personality clashes are responsible for 70% of all workplace conflicts. Let me repeat that. According to a study by CPP Incorporated, the makers, they are the makers of the MBTI. They say that personality clashes are responsible for 70% of all workplace conflicts. The reason why people fight in your teams is not because they hate each other. It is because they simply aren't compatible. And so that is why this conversation is very important. Because when people in relationships begin to fight or begin to have challenges, oftentimes we look at temperament. Oh, this person is this and the other person is this. That is why they are unable to collaborate. But it even matters at the workplace. And many of us have overlooked it. And so this one says that personality clashes are responsible for 70% of all workplace conflicts. Not policies, not KPIs, not even the pay, but people. We build businesses, we scale innovations, but are we really designing environments where personalities can thrive and not just survive? Are we really doing that? Let's break it down. Now, temperament is the emotional and behavioral style you are born with. It shapes how you react to stress, how you make decisions, how you communicate, and how you collaborate. It is not about strengths versus weakness. It's about differences in how we approach life and work. There are many temperament models. There's a Kelsey, there's DISC, there's Myers-Briggs, but they all speak to the same truth. People work, lead, and solve problems differently. Now think about your team. There's a choleric who is driven, confident, and outcome focused. There's also the sanguine, who is optimistic, people loving, and energizing. And there's a phlegmatic, who is very calm, cooperative, and consistent. And there's also the melancholic, who is detail oriented, analytical, and deep thinking. Now, here's a kicker. Each of these different kinds of people in your team or different kind of personality traits in your team bring some value. But when they are misunderstood, each can frustrate the other. So while the choleric leader is demanding results, the melancholic team member is asking for more time to perfect the details. Not a conflict of purpose, just of perspective, because you see that this person sees things differently from the other person. And so you see certain team members who will say, oh, it's nothing, let's just run it through. Other people also want to check it. It is a different types of personality types, the different types of personalities that we have. Let's talk about bottom line. A Gallup report found out that teams with high emotional and personality awareness outperform others by 20% in productivity. Any team that has high emotional and personality awareness will always outperform others by 20% in productivity. Now, the Harvard Business Review confirms that self-aware leaders are 38% more likely to be rated as effective by their teams. If somebody is a leader, if a leader is going to be referred to as a very effective, then it means that that person is self-aware and is 38% more likely to be rated as effective by their teams. And LinkedIn's 2022 Workplace Learning Report shows that 76% of employees want their managers to understand them, not just to instruct them. And this one actually shook me. It says that 76% of employees want their managers to understand them and not just to instruct them. Maybe you are still not convinced. Let me put it in financial terms. Companies in the top quartile for employee engagement, driven largely by personality fit leadership, are 21% more profitable and 17% more productive, according to Gallup. Companies in the top quartile for employee engagement, driven largely by personality fit leadership, are 21% more profitable and more productive, 17% more productive, according to Gallup. Listen, in a world of automation, AI, and remote work, the competitive edge is no longer just speed or skill, because people can achieve a lot within the shortest possible time. The competitive edge really is a human connection. It's a human connection, how we are able to connect as human beings in terms of our personalities, in terms of our temperaments, and what have you. Now, let me try to humanize this a bit. Imagine a melancholic software engineer who is very quiet, precise, working under a sanguine marketing manager. Someone who thrives on quick brainstorming and high energy. Or a choleric CEO running a startup with a team of phlegmatic developers who need stability, they need clarity, they need some time to think. Listen, without awareness, both sides will end up frustrated. But with awareness, a lot of magic will happen. The choleric can learn to pause. The phlegmatic can learn to assert. The sanguine can engage the melancholic's insight before rushing decisions. And the melancholic can also offer feedback instead of retreating when overwhelmed. That is where all of these things come together, if they are all aware of who they are and who the other people are. And when we build teams with these dynamics in mind, what do we get? We get synergy and not friction. I have led several teams, and one of my toughest times leading a team, it looks like there was always trouble. And you might think, because it was for a church program and all of that, you might think that the devil has come in, invaded the team and has entered some people. Of course, Jesus Christ told Peter that get thee behind me, Satan. It means that the devil can enter people and all of that. But that's just a conversation for another way. Sometimes it is only because of personality traits and not because there's a devil somewhere who has entered anybody. So here's what I want you to take away today. Self-awareness is a leadership superpower. Knowing your own temperament helps you lead from authenticity and not assumption. Diversity of temperament is your secret weapon. That's also another thing you need to know. Don't just hire based on resumes. Hire to complement your team's natural flow. You need to know the temperaments of your employees. They need to know their temperament as well and how they are able to work. So that when an employee is not meeting the targets or is not doing something right, you can tell that, okay, because this person is a sanguine, a choleric, a melancholic, or maybe a phlegmatic, that is why they are acting in this particular way. So it is very important. Now also, temperament clashes are not threats, they are opportunities. And let me explain. When two temperaments clashes, they are not threats. There are opportunities. If we can lean into those differences, we can unlock collaboration at a whole new level. If we can lean into those differences, if we understand that this particular person's personality trait and this particular one doesn't clash, then we can unlock collaboration at a whole new level. And so as leaders, we cannot afford to keep managing people as if they are machines. We need to lead them as human beings, with rhythms, with emotions, and unique ways of seeing the world. Very, very important stuff. I remember there was a team member that I led who was interested in the details. Let's plan ahead. Let's do this. Have you done this? They'll constantly check up on you, making sure that everything is working. And there are some other people also on the team that were quite laid back. And all of these things has got to do with their temperament style. I know you can relate to what I'm talking about. You probably have team members that you're struggling with along the same lines. It could just simply be because of their personality traits. So we need to know them. They need to know theirs. And then as leaders, we can be able to bring all these together and do some better collaborations. Now, to go deeper on this, I won't be doing it alone. We've invited some 3 remarkable guests to join us for a roundtable discussion. Today is going to be a very great conversation, and I believe that you're going to pick a thing or two. We're going to talk about the most common personality conflicts at work and how to solve them, how leaders can build temperament-informed teams, and how to turn personality awareness into long-term business advantage. And I believe you don't want to miss this. It's a very important conversation. But this will be all for Business Brief this morning. I believe that you've picked a thing or two, and you are challenged to look at the temperaments of your workers and even your own temperament as a leader. Up next is Transport Today. Stay tuned.
3728. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right. Thank you very much for sticking and staying with us. Solomon Tetenate is seated and he's ready to bring us transport today. Solo, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much for welcoming me.
How are you doing?
By the grace of God, I'm doing very well. What about you?
Yeah, I'm doing well too, by God's grace.
We thank God for that.
I could see that you were enjoying the business brief.
Oh, yeah. It's very important for you to know your character trait.
Right.
And if you know all these things, it helps you to be able to relate with people.
Other people.
And so you are able to even fit in every setting or every space that you find yourself in. So I think it's very important for people to.
So you're fired up for the roundtable discussion?
Yeah. I don't think anyone should even miss the roundtable, because I think there's going to be a lot of stuff in it that you will need to learn from.
Absolutely. All right, tell us flight schedules and also the traffic situation in town.
All right, so I'm taking you through the local flight schedules for Passion Air and then Africa World Airlines, and then we look at the traffic situation in town and then what is trending in the aviation sector. So let me start with the flight schedules, and I'm starting with Passion Air Accra to Kumasi. The flight schedules for Passion Air Accra to Kumasi, the morning schedules are 6:20 a.m., 9 a.m. and 11:40 a.m. Passion Air Accra to Kumasi, the morning schedules are 6:20 a.m., 9 a.m. and 11:40 a.m. And then the afternoon schedules are 1:50 p.m. and 2:20 p.m. 1:50 p.m. and 2:20 p.m. And then the evening schedules are 6:10 p.m. and 7:20 p.m. 6:10 p.m. and 7:20 p.m. Passion Air Accra to Kumasi, and it takes 50 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Takoradi Passion Air. The morning schedule is 6:20 a.m. The morning schedule is 6:20 a.m. and then the afternoon schedule is 4:20 p.m. The afternoon schedule is 4:20 p.m. So we have only 2 flights available for the day. That's Accra to Takoradi Passion Air, and it takes 50 minutes to get to your destination. Now, Accra to Sunyani Passion Air has only 1 flight available for the day at 9:10 a.m. 9:10 a.m. Accra to Sunyani Passion Air, and it takes 1 hour to get to your destination. Accra to Wa Passion Air. Accra to Wa Passion Air. It also has 1 flight available for the day at 9:40 a.m. 9:40 a.m. Accra to Wa Passion Air, and it takes 1 hour 40 minutes to get to your destination. Now, Accra to Tamale Passion Air. Accra to Tamale, the morning schedule is 6 a.m. and then the afternoon schedules are 12:20 p.m. and 4 p.m. The morning schedule is 6 a.m. and then the afternoon schedules are 12:20 p.m. and 4 p.m. Accra to Tamale Passion Air. It takes 1 hour 20 minutes to get to your destination. So these are the flight schedules for Passion Air. Let's look at Africa World Airlines, how their schedules also looks like today. So Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi, the morning schedules are 6:20 a.m., 7:20 a.m., 8:40 a.m. and 8:40 a.m., 9:40 a.m. and 11 a.m. So the morning schedules for Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi are 6:20 a.m., 7:20 a.m., 8:40 a.m., 9:40 a.m. and 11 a.m. So this morning we have a lot of flights available for Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi, and then the afternoon schedules are 1:20 p.m., 2:10 p.m. and 3:40 p.m. 1:20 p.m., 2:10 p.m. and 3:40 p.m. and then the evening schedule is 7 p.m. and that's Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi. It takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Takoradi Africa World Airlines. Accra to Takoradi Africa World Airlines, the morning schedule is 7:20 a.m. and then the afternoon schedules are 12 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. The morning schedule is 7:20 a.m. and then the afternoon schedules are 12 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. So Accra to Takoradi Africa World Airlines, there's no evening flight for today, and it takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Now, Accra to Tamale Africa World Airlines. Accra to Tamale Africa World Airlines, the morning schedules are 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. The morning schedules are 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. and then the afternoon schedules are 12:30 p.m., 2:20 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. 12:30 p.m., 2:20 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. and that's the schedules for Africa World Airlines Accra to Tamale. We don't have any evening flights for Accra to Tamale Africa World Airlines. So these are the flight schedules for today. Let's look at the traffic situation in town. And today I'm taking you to the Kasua Road. If you're coming from Kasua heading towards La Paz, Awushi, or any of these environs, if you get to West Hills Mall, you will experience some traffic around that area. Right from West Hills Mall to Malam Junction is very busy at the moment if you are coming from Kasua. And so that's the information for you. And also heading towards Awushi, from the Malam Junction headed towards Awushi is also busy at the moment. If you are coming from Kasua, the George Bush Highway is busy at the moment, so you should take note of that. That's the traffic situation over there. Around Malam Market, where the Goyo fuel station is located, is also busy around that area. At where the Goyo filling station, is located, is very busy around that area. At or on the Dr. Bushia Highway is busy at the moment. Dr. Bushia Highway is busy at the moment, so you should take note of that. So that's the traffic situation around that area. Kwashiman, KFC Kwashiman is building up around where the KFC branch, Kwashiman branch, KFC Kwashiman branch is located, is busy at the moment. It's building up actually slowly, so it might get busy any moment from now. So you should take note of that. So that's the traffic situation over there. Kwashiman Cheesy Pizza, Kwashiman Cheesy Pizza branch at Kwashiman around that area is also busy at the moment. If you are using the Cheesy Pizza, the road heading towards the Cheesy Pizza Kwashiman branch is busy at the moment, or around where the Jalov Hotel is located is very busy at the moment. So if you are using that route, you should take note of that. On the La Paz Road, if you're heading towards La Paz, around where the Papaya Fast Food is located, is also busy at the moment. Right from where Abrantia Sport is located to Papaya Fast Food is busy at the moment. So if you're using that route, you should also take note of that. And so that's the traffic situation in town. Let's look at what is trending in the aviation sector. So Emirates deepens footprints with new Chinese deal. So Emirates and Air China have signed a memorandum of understanding to establish a strategic framework for expanding their existing reciprocal interline cooperation. And so the MOU was signed by Adnan Kazim, and that's the Emirates Deputy President and Chief Commercial Officer, and Yan Fei, that's Air China's Senior Vice President, then Chief Commercial Officer, accompanied by senior executives from both sides. So after the signing, Adnan Kazim had a brief press briefing with the media, and he stated that our partnership with Air China commenced 26 years ago, and that's July 1999. And since 2018, approximately 18,000 Emirates customers have benefited from the expanded connectivity offered through our interline agreement. And so building on this success, we've recently announced the launch of two new Chinese cities, and that's Shenzhen and Hangzhou, which will strengthen our East Asia operations. And so this is coming from the Vice President for Emirates, Deputy President, from Emirates, Adnan Kazim. And also Delta Airlines, passenger facing charges after assaulting flight attendant at Minneapolis St. Paul Airport. So a passenger aboard the Boeing 737-900 struck a flight attendant in the course of an altercation over carry-on baggage. So according to Fox 9 News, 45-year-old Priya Swaminathan of Santos, and that's California, faces legal charges stemming from the incident that occurred at Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport. So yesterday, they indicated that the man has been, jailed because of the incident that happened at the Minneapolis St. Paul International airport. And so that's what is trending in the aviation sector. And thank you so much, Ni, for having me.
Thank you,
today.
Solomon Tetenate, for bringing us transport today. That was my colleague, Solomon Tetenate, bringing us transport today this morning. And up next is market trends. And today we're talking about the inflation report for the month of May. Very important. Please don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Clap your hands.
Praise medley by Joe Meteo, bringing us to 2 minutes after 8. This is the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. Your favorite lifestyle, leisure, and business platform. Well, anyway, do you know that you can own your own house in just 2 years with no interest repayment? Yes, that's possible only with Lakeside Estate. Now, Lakeside Estate has got an exclusive offer for you. And this offer gives you affordable payments, flexible home purchase plan, quality homes, and lifestyle choice. And you also get to choose from a variety of beautiful homes in any of the Lakeside Hills clusters. So indeed, your future awaits. Just imagine living in a home you love, with the freedom to invest in your dreams without the burden of interest. Well, as a CIMG Real Estate Company of the Year for the 4th time, we offer you home acquisition, a hassle-free one for that matter. All you have to do is to call us today, and the number to call is 020-477-5042, 020-477-5042, or 020-477-5040, 020-477-5040, or 050-1418-622, 050-1418-622. So don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Call us now to learn more and schedule a tour of our available homes. Lakeside Estate, quality home for all. All right, very soon we'll get into our market trends conversation for today. Very, very important conversation. Please don't go anywhere. Enjoy this one, and we'll be right back.
Everybody say,
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Listen. Please call me favor, Papa has done too much for me. Please call me favor, I am here only by his grace. Please call me favor, Papa has done too much for me. It's overflowing, my name is Favor.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Please call me favor, Papa has done too much for me. Please call me favor, I am here only by his grace. Please call me favor, Papa has done too much for me. It's overflowing. My name is Favor. You dare bless me, oh. Bless me, Papa. Bless me, oh. Bless me, Papa. You dare 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 bless me. Bless me, Papa. Call me Favor. Please call me Favor. Papa has done too much for me.
Lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
All right, Call Me Favor by Deborah Lukalu, bringing us to exactly 8:12. This is a Business Breakfast on Zed. Now, today on our market trends conversation, very, very important stuff. Now, inflation is falling, but are we finally out of the woods? Now, the Ghana Statistical Service has released their Consumer Price Index, CPI, reports for May 2025, showing inflation has dropped significantly to 18.4%. The lowest we've seen in over a year, I think since 2022 or so. And it's a development that is actually stirring some cautious optimism, raising questions about the health of the economy, food prices, regional disparities, and what it all means for your wallet. But behind the numbers, what is really going on? Are prices stabilizing for the right reasons, or are there some hidden pressures that are still looming? Today on Market Trends, we break it all down with our in-house economic analyst, Emmanuel Boateng, as we explore why food inflation remains stubbornly high, what this means for interest rates and borrowing, and whether the ordinary Ghanaian is actually feeling any relief. We'll get into that right away. And I have joining me over the phone lines, Emmanuel Boateng, ready to have this conversation. Ima, good morning.
Good morning, Nitrevi.
How are you doing?
I'm blessed. I hope you are doing well too.
Yes, I'm doing very well by God's grace. Now let's get into it. Now, 18.4%. Inflation has dropped to 18.4%. And how did that news? I mean, what was your reaction to that?
Well, I anticipated it. I was not too shocked. Yet, although I anticipated that the inflation was going to drop, I didn't know it would drop by that magnitude.
Yeah,
the magnitude is quite huge, from 21.2% in April to 18.4%. I mean, when you consider month on month, I think that was a magnitude that I didn't expect. I knew it would fall, but well, let's just say I'm surprised.
Okay.
Sort of, yeah.
Right,
from 21.2 to 18.4. Yeah, just that I knew it will drop. In fact, next month it will still drop.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. Oh, yes.
It's going to drop.
It has been dropping for how many? Since
I think since.
Let's see.
We can speak to the beginning. I mean, since the beginning of the year, we've seen drops from time to time.
So, no, in fact, December, it was 23.8. Then it moved to 23.5 in January. Then it moved to 23.1 in February, 22.4 in March, 21.2 in April, and 18.4. So, if you like, 5 or 6 consecutive months, you've seen it drop. Yeah.
So let's first of all look at
and maybe let me even add.
Okay,
this is the lowest since February 2022.
Yeah, this is the lowest, and
over 3 years.
And that is very serious. I mean, that tells of the significant.
In fact, I went to pull all the inflation results since March 2020.
Wow.
When it was 7.8%. I pulled it since March 2020. And you can see that it was in February 2022 that I recorded an inflation of 15.7. Then in March 2022, it increased to 19.4. Since then, everything has just been 20s. We've been in our
20s.
And then we've increased, as it were, 30. We've gone to 40, 50. We've been playing around, and finally
we've hit 50 before.
Oh, in February 2023, inflation was 52.8. In fact, in January 2023, inflation was 53.6. The highest actually was December 2022, 54.1. Yeah, we've traveled a long way.
Wow, and now we are doing about 18.4%.
Yeah, we are back home.
Wow.
We've traveled a path of 40 through 2023. In fact, up until August 2023 was 40.1. And then it came to 38 in September 2023, 38 to 35, and then we came to 20. So since November 2023, we've been in the 20s column from 26, and then April 2025 was the last time we saw 20, 21, and then now we are talking about 18.4.
18.4. But what are the main drivers behind this decline? And you believe that we're going to see some decline in the coming months as well?
Exactly. I mean, we know what has been driving our inflation. It's an issue of food prices. And so once food prices come down, inflation will definitely come down. Well, it is true that the food prices didn't drop as much, because when I look at the data before me this morning, in terms of food and non-food prices, one of the things that you would easily observe is that in the previous month, food prices was 25%. It decreased to 22.8% for May. Now, non-food was 17.9%, decreased to 14.4%. So that tells you we've seen decreases both with food and non-food inflation. Both of them have decreased by a certain margin. But when you look at the rate at which the non-food fell, I think it was much sharper than the food. Because food prices only fell by 2.2%, non-food prices fell by, I think, 3.5%. So the non-food was the major driver of the fall in inflation, although I'm also admitting that food prices also fell. And so, I mean, that's essentially, if you would ask me, that is how I put it. The decline is largely due to slower, as it were, increases. That's another way to put it. Slower increases in both food and non-food prices. So while food inflation remains high at 22.8%, that is what we have for May. It has been trending downward slightly. So we've seen it trending downwards because it was 25%.
Right.
So that is what we see. And then non-food dropped more significantly to 14.4%, up from 17.9%. And then it pulled the overall rate down. And the monthly inflation rate was just 0.7%. When you look at month on month, you would note that it is just 0.7%. In fact, it's not last month, which is April. Between March and April, the month on month was 0.8. And then between April and May, it is 0.7. So when you consider it from the month on month perspective, that is what you see. So we are just seeing more stability in prices over the short term. We are seeing stability in prices over the short term. And I think that if you ask me, it is good news. More specifically, transport costs are falling. Transport costs are falling. Furnishing and households are also dropping. ICT is also falling. That is all that I would say. By that. Yeah.
I see. Now, this is also the lowest year-on-year inflation in over a year.
The lowest year-on-year since February 2022.
Yeah.
In over 3 years. Because February 2022 to February 2023 is 1 year. Then February 2023 to February 2024 is 2 years. February 2024 to February 2025 is 3 years. Then this is May.
Wow.
So over 13, that's 39 months. The lowest in 39 months or so. Wow.
But does it mark a turning point for our economy, or is it too early to celebrate?
Well, I don't know how to properly put it. While it's a good sign, of course, it may be too early actually to celebrate, if I'm to use your word. We've seen some work. We've seen monetary tightening. It was maintained, and that was intended to bring prices down. And so the policy is working as it should. The monetary policy is having an effect. But food prices are still volatile, and that is why I'm saying it is still too early to celebrate, because we have some work to do with our food prices. So without structurally improving our agriculture and supply chains, inflation could remain sticky or rebound. And so I think it's too early to celebrate, and these are the reasons. Because, well, of course, we've seen positive results, but we ought to be cautious because it's not yet the turning point. I was speaking to you about the fact that I put the results right from 2020 up until now. And in March 2020, inflation was 7.8%. This is within our medium-term target. In 2020, March, that was where we were. So is this something we cannot do? Of course, I know a lot of things play a role in all these because we saw COVID-19, we saw Russia-Ukraine war, we saw domestic, like a lot of things have happened in our Ghanaian economy. So I note that. I'm well aware of that. But in March 2020, it was 7.8%. And celebrating 18.4%, I don't think is time yet to celebrate. Because when you look at the trend that we've been seeing over the past months, in fact, 23.8 to 23.5 to 23.1 to 22.4 to 21.2 to 18.4. We are just seeing progress. So that should be sustained. We are seeing that downward trend, and it has been sustained for a while. Maybe let's wait and see. That's what I would say. It's good results, positive results, but maybe it's not the right time to pop the champagne.
I see. And I want to believe that there are certain structural issues like tax revenue gaps and the food supply chain inefficiencies that are causing this.
Exactly, because when you see, that's why it's always important to open up the numbers. So food inflation, why is it the one driving it? Then it tells you that is where we need to do some more work. And what makes up the food inflation? What makes up the food inflation? I mean, that is not, how do I put it? We know what makes up food inflation. We know the food items. Those are the things that makes up food inflation. And maybe I don't know if your questions will come there, so I don't want to rush into it. But
yeah, I'm definitely coming to food inflation. I mean, you've been mentioning it, and we need to understand a few things around
because
that.
Because some things are relatively high. When we talk about the non-food, we are looking at the alcoholic beverages, tobacco, and the rest of them, clothing, footwear, housing, water, electricity, furnishing, and et cetera, et cetera. Those are the non-food items: ICT, health, transport, education, et cetera, et cetera. And then when we talk about the food, then we are looking at the cereal products, live animals, fish, milk. I mean, food. What makes up food?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And transportation cost and all of that.
The GSS food storage. Yeah.
Right. So indeed, food inflation is still high, 22.8%. And
inflation is still high.
And non-food inflation is 14.4%.
Exactly.
Why is food inflation remaining that high? And it's been very stubborn over the past few months.
Because we've not addressed the issues that we need to address.
What are the issues?
Food prices are usually vulnerable to seasonal shifts, transport costs, weather patterns.
Okay.
And so when you see it like that, it is just a reflection of the inefficiencies in our local food production, our local food storage, and the distribution thereof, as well as external price pressures like imported food and imported fuel. Imported fuel will feed into our transport costs, affect the prices of food generally, and that is what we'll see. The question is, in our production of food, our staples, our food items, do we produce more than we demand, or is our supply more than our demand? The answer is no, because if our supply is more than our demand, then we would not import food.
Okay.
And so we still face a situation of a food deficit that we need to address, food crisis. And sometimes I even want to move beyond Ghana and probably visit the entire world with some statistics about food.
Right.
Some statistics about food, and it will surprise you that, for instance, it's not just Ghana that is having food issues. It's a global issue. And so this is something that we can address. It's something that we can address because when we open it up and we look at some of the things that we do import, like the last time I was talking to you about poultry, it's part of food, but this is imported. Of course, there are those ones that include canned products and the rest of them.
Right.
But some of the things really, I'm sure you will say but these are some of the issues that we need to address. We know we have issues of post-harvest losses. How does it come about?
post-harvest losses? Can we solve our storage issues? Can we look at manufacturing of the raw food items, etc., etc.? These are things that need to be addressed within that area. And I think that once we are able to address the issues of seasonal factors, input costs, rising fertilizer prices, fuel prices, transportation costs for farmers and the rest of them, climate issues, and then import dependency. These are key. These are the four main things that I'll dwell on. And we know that food categories like oil and fat, live animals and meat, and vegetables are the major drivers of the food inflation. Oil and fat, or fat and oil, as we call it in home economics. Live animals and meat, Titinga and its brothers. And vegetables. These are the three main drivers of the food inflation. 35.5%, 29.5%, 24%, respectively. Fat and oil, live animals and meat, and then vegetables. These are the key ones. So if you want to work on it, how do you make sure the price of fat and oil comes down, the price of live animals and meat come down, the price of vegetables come down? What do you need to do? Is it limited supply that is raising prices? Is it an issue of import? Do we really? I don't think we import live animals and meat. Now, maybe we do. Maybe. But vegetables, sometimes when I go to the mall, you see some vegetables and you see that this vegetable was not produced in Ghana. Sometimes I get shocked. I really get shocked. But, my brother, this is the situation we have at hand. This is the situation we have at hand.
So what exactly does this say about the state of local agriculture and food security here in Ghana? Because you talk about the fact that you go to the malls and you see only foreign. You know that these ones are not made in Ghana and all of that. What does this food inflation
foreign component? Yeah, you know that the persistent high food inflation indicates a moderate food security stress. Now, rising food costs disproportionately affect low-income households. You know there is something as a Maslow hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
We have the basic needs. The basic needs will include food, shelter, and clothing. Let's just take food, because that is what we are looking at now. For low-income individuals, low-income households, their income rarely deals with food. They have just small to spend. If food prices go up, they are the ones that are affected the most, not those who have a lot more money. That is why it's a major concern. It is a major concern because these are the people that really suffer the most. And that is why we need to address the issue urgently. And another thing that we find is that local production may not be keeping pace with the demand. Therefore, there is the need for agricultural productivity improvement and value chain efficiencies to be able to, as it were, address this issue that we have at hand. You see, the data implies that local agriculture is still not resilient or productive enough to be able to meet the demand efficiently. And the high food inflation is indicative of challenges in our production, our storage, and our market access. That points to a broader issue of food insecurity and underinvestment in agribusiness infrastructure. And that is what we need to look at. And if you're asking me that what does this inflation trend suggest about the state of local agriculture and food insecurity in Ghana, that is really it. Our agriculture is not as resilient as it should be. It's not as productive as it should be in order to meet our growing demand.
I see.
And the high food inflation is really that mirror that is revealing what really we have and who really we are.
There's a lot we have to do, but let's look at the regional disparities now. Upper West recorded as the highest regional inflation, which is 38.1%, while Ahafo had the lowest, 14.5%. Last month, I think the lowest was Volta region. I don't know. I'm not too sure. I think we spoke about it, but I'm not too sure how to probably check my facts. But,
that's true.
Okay, it was Volta region, right? Right, and this time it is Ahafo 14.5%.
In fact, Ahafo is now, in fact, for maybe the past 5 months or so, we are now seeing Ahafo because usually between Volta and the eastern region.
And eastern region, exactly. So, but anyway, tell me, what factors could explain such wide regional disparities? 38-14. That's very wide.
Well, I think usually I would first of all point to transportation infrastructure. Local food production capacity, market integration, and access to goods and services. You see, regions like Upper West may rely more on transported goods, making them more sensitive to fuel costs and supply chain inefficiency. And I think usually that explains why we see it as so. The 38.1 right in Upper West, and then 14.5 in Ahafo. I hope I got the figures right. Yeah, 14.5 in Ahafo. That is like 23.6 percentage point difference. That's even more than what was recorded in Central Region, and maybe Western North, and maybe Bono East. In fact, Greater Accra Region. Greater Accra Region recorded just 15.5%. Sometimes people think Accra is the most expensive place. Not always true. It's not always true. And you see that the disruption, like I said, could stem from the transportation infrastructure, but even more, economic structure differences. You see, regions with more subsistence agriculture may face higher food price pressures. Remote regions like Upper West may have limited market access, and that will lead to higher prices for them. And of course, the usual transportation and storage infrastructure variations across the regions may be a major contributor. And then local supply shocks, region-specific agriculture or economic disruptions also plays a key role. And I think these are 3 or 4 of the main reasons why we are seeing such a huge spread. Yeah, because the spread is huge, 23.6 percentage point difference between the region with the least recorded inflation and the region with the highest recorded inflation. I think that is a lot. In fact, even that spread is more than the overall inflation, 18.4. Wow. Wow.
I see. But maybe,
in fact,
the
go ahead. Upper West, these are just insights coming to me now. The inflation that has been recorded in the Upper West region is more than twice the overall inflation, because 18.4 times 2 is 36.8, and they are recording 38.1. It's more than twice.
That's true.
That's something that is worthy of examination. And I think the northern regions have been recording high inflation for some time now. And maybe we need to look into that.
Right, but do you think there's something I've been thinking about, that sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times, the national average actually covers, it masks the local hardship.
It doesn't help us to see what is happening.
Exactly. So don't you think policymakers should tailor inflation responses regionally instead of the one-size-fits-all national policies that we see?
And that you are spot on. That is true. Because when you look at this particular result that we have, the national average is lower than only 7 of the regions. And higher than, it is lower than 9 of the regions and higher than only 7 of the regions.
Yeah.
In other words, we have more regions, 9, exceeding the national average. The northern region, OT region, western, Ashanti, Bono, northeast. Ashanti usually does not even exceed the national average. Northeast, Upper East, Savannah, and Upper West. These 9 regions recorded a higher inflation than the national average. In fact, Upper West is close to 40. No other region recorded more than, as it were, said only Upper West was in the 30 bracket. The rest of the regions, 28, 26, 22, 20, 20, 19, then the national 18.4. Then Eastern 18.3, then we see 18.2 for Western North, 16.9 for Volta, 16.5 for Bunu East, 16.1 for Central, 15.5 for Greater Accra, and Ahafo 14.5. Greater Accra is the region with the second least inflation results. Very, very interesting. And it is true, we need to tailor policy responses to meet what we will call the regional differences, because these regions have unique situations. They do. So targeted regional approaches will be more effective, and I agree with you on that. Upper West and the northern regions, as we have seen, they need infrastructure investment and agricultural support. And well-performing regions like Ahafo could serve as models of best practice. And market integration policies would help to reduce price disparities among regions or across the regions. Market integration. How well are regional markets integrated? Isn't it surprising? You know, sometimes there are things that I've bought from Kumasi. I didn't buy it from Accra. And there are things that I prefer to buy from Accra than from Kumasi. There are things that you prefer to buy from, say, Ebri. You prefer to buy from, say, Somania, say, in the eastern region. There are things that you prefer to buy from the Volta region. In fact, there are things you prefer to buy from Adan than to buy from Accra Central. This is a reality. And the market women are aware. In fact, even in Accra, there are things that market women will prefer to buy from, say, Agboglosi or Madina or Malata or Accra Central. Like, they know where to buy what from. And it's because they understand the variations in the prices across the market, across the regions. I know someone who shops for their family. The person stays in Accra, but the person shops as in Sawon. And the reason is simple. Prices are cheaper there for the same product. So we certainly need some policies on market integration so that we'll reduce the price disparities. The disparities are too wide, if you ask me. And I agree with you on that subject. You see, regional targeted interventions such as transport subsidies for landlocked areas or agricultural investment in high inflation zones, that would enhance the effectiveness of anti-inflation strategy and promote a well-balanced development. And in Ghana, I am sure, if not everyone, almost everyone listening to us this morning agrees that the developments across our regions are not homogeneous. They are not uniform. Highly heterogeneous. Some regions are up there and some regions are really, really low there. We have 16 regions and some regions need a facelift.
Right. Especially, maybe let me make a case for the northern part of Ghana.
Yeah, feel free to make that case. Not just the northern part, even the OT region and how do you call that place? And some parts of the Volta region.
Yeah, that's true.
It looks like a lot of the concentration, and that could be true. It may be something we may have to look into. A lot of the concentration really is in Accra. And for many people, they think Accra is a reflection of Ghana. Or to put it differently, they think Ghana is Accra.
Accra, yeah.
But that is wrong. There was a time I went to the Volta region, and, well, the price of malt really was lower than it was in Accra. And I wanted to buy 10. I wanted to buy 10, but I can't take 10.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
They have their issues that need to be addressed. Sometimes we have, you let me know good, that may be a bit more political. So let me just be quiet.
All right. So tell me, let's talk about the monetary policy and maybe we can touch a bit on the economic outlook. What does this inflation drop mean for the Bank of Ghana's monetary policy going forward?
Going forward, yes, it gives the Bank of Ghana some room to consider easing it, reducing it.
Okay.
But I think they need to be cautious because they need to also consider other factors in the market.
Like
the rate of the cedi. You heard the governor say they are monitoring it. But, of course, in fact, I think we should also feel free to attribute some of the, in fact, to attribute the drop in the inflation to how the cedi has also performed. I don't think nothing should hold us back in appreciating that.
Right.
Because certainly it has fed into it. See, we need to be honest with ourselves as a country. A lot of traders are not reducing prices. And maybe this morning I may want to make that call. Yesterday, a friend of mine, we had to get some drinks in large scale. And when we went to the shop, it's a wholesale shop. The prices had reduced. For some cartons of the drink, the prices had reduced by more than 30 cedis and 40 cedis.
Wow.
Yes.
What drinks are those?
This Don Simon 1 liter drink.
Oh, okay.
We buy it in box, like
right.
12 pieces, Hollandia, the rest. Nobody should come to my house. It's not for me. So don't come. Series and the rest of them. And so when he went to buy, so when he came, he said, Iman, the prices have reduced. So why haven't they reduced the prices at the retail shop? And we were surprised. And sometimes we wonder, and I'm sure there are retailers who have gone to buy it at that price. Because this wholesale shop I'm talking about is just at, how do you call the place? Medina, the entire about. But there are shops around here, Medina, who are still selling the drinks at higher prices. Prices have fallen for some products. I don't think it is all. But the retail outlets are failing to reduce prices. And I think it is an attitude that we must all change as Ghanaians.
Right.
We must change it. When the system is going well, let us mirror that indeed prices are falling. We are recovering. If you are recovering and you still want to look as a sick person, I don't think that is appropriate. That is not correct. The economy is on a recovery path. Let us show that truly we are recovering. Let us not still pretend like we are sick. I'm just using an illustration. And I think that it is something that we must all do. Right. We must all work around that. Because I've seen, really, we need to just work on our attitude. I know the literature. The literature says that people react more quickly to like a worst case scenario than they do to a good case. I mean, a good case scenario. So when things are bad, the reaction is very fast and the magnitude is very large compared to when situations are good. I'm aware of that. But why is it so? It is because this literature is in support with the behavior of people, and that is what we have studied. How do we move away from that? It is to change our attitude. It is to change. Price cannot always be sticky upwards. Why? Yesterday we bought fuel, it's around 10 point something or so. Things have come down. So let us let it reflect, because it is upon that we will even see the inflation numbers translating down. I've read stories of some drivers who have picked passengers and returned them to the original place where they ordered the car just because the passenger said the price has come down. I don't know if you've read some.
Yeah, I think I heard about it.
And I'm like, it's something I call back. Watch you. But
anyway, all right. So Ima, do you think maybe is this declining inflation translating into lower interest rates? Or
literally, I think my friend is listening to me. He said that the price fell by 60 cedis for the Don Simon he bought. Yeah, he said it used to be 330 cedis for a carton, and now it is 270 cedis. He just sent me a message. I mean, he's listening.
That's
I didn't even know he was listening this morning. The prices are falling. So why don't you? And let me even do, because I know how many pieces are in the carton. They should be selling it at 22 cedis now. So it means a unit cost is 22.5. So they should be selling it around 25 cedis or something for us. Or even if they want to kill us, 30 cedis. Do you know how much they sell one at the retail shop? 35 cedis. 35 cedis.
I see.
35 cedis, even when it used to be 330 cedis. And 330, the unit cost was 27. They were putting as much as 7 cedis, 50 pesos on one. You see how we kill ourselves in this country. And then in the end, we'll come and say it is the government. But at various levels, you can see some level of, wrong behavior or something that is not rightly aligned. And that has to change. Because if prices are falling from 330 to 270, a 60 cedis drop, that is about 18% decrease in the price. And you are not willing to reduce the price from 35 cedis, then won't pay a year. Because even if you sell it at 30 cedis, even if you sell it at 30 cedis, you'll be making 7 cedis, 50 pesos per one, like you used to do in the old times. So why can't you sell it at 30 cedis, but you still want to sell it at 35 cedis? Really? Oh, but you'll be making 12 cedis, 50 pesos per one. Oh, no, it's not fair. For us, we will still buy it at the wholesale shop anyway. Because that will be our only place to beat the retail market.
Right, Ima. So let's be trying to wrap up. But tell me, is this declining inflation translating into lower interest rates or cheaper borrowing for businesses and individuals?
Not yet. I think I read something yesterday from the governor. He's looking forward to a time where he'll be leaving office, where the borrowing rate will be a single digit. I was like, wow. I look forward to that day. Maybe 9%, maybe something, maybe even 10%, 12%, 15%. That would be happy. Like, it would be a happy situation for all of us. But not yet, because, while headline inflation has reduced, real interest rate is still tight up there because of previous hikes. The cost of borrowing has not changed. Monetary policy, I think their next meeting is in July. I think so. Is it July or November?
Yes, I think we mentioned July.
Yeah. So we've not seen that. It may take more consistent debt declines, as it were, before lending rates will come down and credit will become more accessible. It will take some time.
Right.
So as they say now, let's give time, and let's see what happens.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right. So you already mentioned your expectations. Don't you think anything could stop those expectations for the next month?
Like my expectation of
for the inflation
falling.
Yeah, no, the inflation
falling.
Yes. You mentioned it was going to fall.
Yes, that has been my expectation for about 5 months now. Well, you see, my expectation is founded on the data and policy. You see what government is doing, and it tells you where we are headed. The tone, the posture of the government. Of course, I know somebody will just say, but Ima, they've increased something. They've introduced a new levy on fuel or something like that. 1 cedi per liter, something. And it's going to cause fuel prices to go higher. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. But look at the policy in place. Look at the behavior of the exchange rate. We are seeing some level of appreciation, stability around that area. We are seeing the policy of the government. We see clear fiscal discipline. We are seeing a good fiscal consolidation. In fact, we are seeing export revenue from gold and our major products. What will be my reason to say that inflation will go up in the coming months? I don't have any. And once the data is moving in a certain direction, that is the only projection that you can make.
Right.
Unless you are not being true to the data. And what I say is based on the data. It's not my heuristic impression or how emotionally I say that, I feel. No. If I do that is not accurate. That is not economic policy. It must be based on the data. This is what the data is saying. Based on how government policy. Look at our monetary policy rate. And in fact, look at the treasury bill market. Government is still fighting for rates to come down. Government has, look at the Bank of Ghana. their eyes on the ball. We want to see prices fall. We want to see food inflation come down. They are doing whatever they can. Financial system, the policies around there. And so, as far as I have not seen anything from the side of the government and the monetary side, that necessitates a change in my projection. That is all I'll say, that I expect it to come further down.
I see.
The same way that I still expect that the president has said they anticipate that, or they are working towards a 10 to 12 cedi to a dollar exchange rate. But I think that we have it at 10.2 or something.
Yes,
10.5 or something, I think. I think that once, I think third week in June or so, IMF money will hit, Bank of Ghana money will hit, it may stabilize things with the revenue you are earning from the exports. I think I am expecting it to come around 9 before, if anything will happen, it will happen. I mean, this is data, and typically that is what happens. Unless, of course, there will be some spending that will accompany what we have to expect. Then that will also make a lot of sense.
But yesterday it dipped by some pesos.
Yes, certainly. Certainly it would. You will note that since last week, it has been around 10.
Around 10, yes.
That is like a stable movement.
Yeah.
And so you see up, you see down, you see up. It will not always be up. Oh, no.
Okay.
Yes, so certainly. But you see, the point is, by what margin did it depreciate?
Right. Okay.
So let's just give time some time. I believe strongly that everything will be fine. In a short while, we will have a predictable economic environment, and that is what we've all been looking
forward to. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Ima. So thank you very much. I think we'll wrap up. I'll let you go now. You've helped us a great deal, and we're grateful.
You're welcome.
All right, that was Emmanuel Boating, our in-house economic analyst, helping me break down the whole Ghana Statistical Service report for the month of May. I mean, in terms of our consumer price index, and he said a lot of things. Maybe I just try to run you through a few of the things he already spoke about. So we talked about the inflation. I was asking him the drivers behind it, and he says that it is because of the exchange rate appreciation. It's because of also maybe the reduced import cost and all of that, and also the tight monetary policy. Some of these things have actually brought us where we are now. He also talked about the lowest year-on-year, it being the lowest year-on-year inflation for the past 3 years or so, and it says that it's a positive signal, but it must be interpreted with caution. Because I was asking him that, does this mark a turning point for Ghana's economy, or it is too early to celebrate? And he says that it is too early to celebrate because we've been at 7% before, so 18% is not something that we can celebrate now. But he expects that going forward, we're going to still see some. We're going to see inflation decline in the coming months as well. So I think that's something we need to look forward to. And one of the very key things that we spoke about was the regional disparities. Upper West recorded 38.1%, and Ahafo recorded 14.5%, which is which is a very grave disparity, a very wide one for that matter. And he says that the factors that are actually influencing this are transportation cost, limited market access, and the seasonal food shortages. And these are things that we need to deal with. But there's also a call that we should look at. Policymakers should look at tailoring inflation responses regionally instead of the one-size-fits-all national policies that we've been seeing over the period. But anyway, that will be all for market trends. It's been a very long conversation. You can catch the recording. It's on our YouTube at Zed Multimedia and also on Facebook at ZFMGH. You can just go and watch it right there. But up next is our roundtable discussion, and it's going to be a very good conversation this morning. You don't want to miss. We're talking about how personality traits and personality types, temperament really affects the work that we do or the workspaces that we find ourselves in. And it's a very important conversation. I think you don't have to miss it. We'll take a quick music break. When we return, my guest will join me for this conversation. Stay tuned.
get it on. Having a bed that's kinda old-fashioned. Give me your love and let me ravish it. Show and prove you're feeling I'll never lose. Snooze or bruise it, no I'll never do this. I'll be yours and you'll be mine. To wine and dine and play no good time. In the walk in the dark, we can walk in if you want sweet. I'll be your candy man, cause I'm that type of guy. So baby, don't be shy. Mary had a little boy, but now he's a man. Understand? If you let me, I can give you all that a good man should. Treat you like a queen, baby. Yes, I would. Me and you, the team of a dream. When your feelings are wrinkled, I'll be the steam to soothe and smooth dry your tears and so on. They call me Turbo B, but you can call me Jerome. I'll be your very own. I'll be your poet. Praise you with flowers, touch you with poet. I'll be yours till the day I die. So make a move and don't be shy.
It's your lifestyle, lurcher, and business radio.
Not a typical male, my emotions I let sell. You be my one and only until you are hell. I will still hurt you, but I'm your healer. If your body needs a fix, I'll be your love killer. Call your name in the heat of passion. Straight to your hot spot like an assassin. You know I will, but never an overkill. You're not in the mood, don't worry, baby, I'll chill. It's a satin sheet, we can talk by candlelight. You'll sleep in my arms and I will hold you all night. Dope on the rope if you give it a try. So baby, don't be shy.
It's your lifestyle, lurcher, and business radio. It's your lifestyle, lurcher, and business radio.
Girl like yours, like a dream come true. I realize
Lurcher and Business Radio. It's your lifestyle lurcher and business radio. It's your lifestyle lurcher and business radio. Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Right, exactly 6 after 9. This is a Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Trebi Hammond. And it's time for us to get into our roundtable discussion this morning. Now, today's conversation gets to the heart of something that we often overlook in business. And when I did my business brief, I was sharing with you that when we talk about personality traits, when we talk about temperaments, they don't only apply to relationships. And even in work, there are relationships, but in this particular context, I'm talking about relationships as in one between a man and a woman and maybe boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife kind of relationship. It doesn't just end there. It even goes into the work that we do. And so today's conversation, we are looking at how personalities shape the way we work, the way we lead, and the way we collaborate. Now, the reality is that most workplace tensions aren't about skill. They are about temperament. In fact, up to 60% of team conflicts come from personality clashes. And that is something that is very, very important. Yet, when we understand how we are wired and how others are wired, teams tend to thrive. So whether you are building a startup, you are leading a corporate team, or investing in talent, this conversation matters. Because when we learn to work with personality differences, not against them, we unlock higher productivity, stronger communication, and healthier culture. And I've got 3 brilliant guests with me today. I have a career coach, an organizational psychologist, and an HR manager who are going to break it all down with insights you can apply right away. So let's dive it right into it. But my guests are Mary Ikia Ahinma Dazi. She is an HR expert, and also Mr. Jeffrey Boache. He is a life coach, industrial and organizational psychologist. And in studio here is Miss Lydia Kwesing, a career coach. Let me say hi to those on the phone lines, and then I come to you. Hi, Mary. Hello, Mary.
Hello, Prince. Good morning.
Yeah, this is Nitrebi. Good morning.
Okay.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for making time to be here this morning. And also, Jeffrey, good morning. Hello, Jeffrey. Hello, good morning, Jeffrey. All right, I'm sure we have a challenge with that, but we'll try and reconnect Jeffrey. But I have in studio, Miss Lydia Quason. We've been speaking for a long time.
Yeah, yes.
Good to finally see you.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm happy to see you.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to come.
Wow,
It's been a while, I know.
That's true. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing well, though.
By grace. Yeah.
Glory to Jesus. All right, let's talk about this particular subject matter. And I want to start by asking a very simple question. How does understanding your own personality or temperament shape your work style? And I'll start in studio with you, and then I come back to Mary and Jeffrey over the phone lines.
All right. Thank you, Ni. I just want to first say that, mostly people hear about personality traits, and because of our wide audience, some actually don't even understand what personality traits are.
Absolutely.
So I want you to know that when we talk about personality traits, we want you to know that this kind of consistent behaviors, attitude, actions, feels, are traits, are something that is natural within, right? That actually shape your behavior, shape your attitude, shape even the way you dress, the way you look, the way you sit, the way you eat, everything.
Wow.
So it is something that if you are able to understand, then you are able to align with your career. Now, as a career coach and doing this for the past years, I want you to know that, yes, personality actually shape our career decisions and choices. And if you are able to detect it this early, it's going to have a high impact on your career, aspirations, progressions, and how you even excel, right? And how you even live long. And I'm saying live long because, in Ghana here, we know actually from childhood, parents take decisions for us. Even when sometimes your choice of programs that you want to study in the university, even secondary school, the child is timid, right? The child is a bit quiet, reserved, but the parents want the child to, do a program that is not actually aligned with the person's personality. So the child does that. Then after school, university, same. Then, the child find him or herself doing something that the person is not really excelling. The person is not really himself or herself or enjoying it, right? So it starts from actually parenting plays a key role in how our career decisions and choices actually are formed.
Right.
And when you get to the stage, let's say now you are in the university, you are done, you are a graduate, you are working, you are into media, you are doing journalism. You see, if you can be doing it, but you may not be liking it. Some can be doing it and it comes naturally. What I do, it is natural. It's not book or school book.
Right.
It is really natural. And it makes you do it with that kind of flair. It's easier for you because you are able to, do you and do you alone.
Wow.
Yeah, so what I want us to, begin the conversation with is that, yes, we have to look at it right from parenting, right from understanding the children. Now, growing up, understanding yourself, being self-aware of who you are. And then it inspires your decision in terms of the programs you choose. The jobs that you are actually looking out for. And then you also think of the future. Because if you are stressed today, your life may be cut short. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Let me come to you, Mary. Mary, are you still with us?
I'm here, Nee.
Oh, absolutely. Great. Thank you so much. Now, so let me also get your take on that. How does understanding your own personality or temperament shape your work style?
Okay, right. Nee, thank you so much for the question. Let me take this opportunity to say hello to our audience listening to us. Right. So just like Lydia mentioned, so personality in itself it gets developed from our environment, our culture, our genes. All of these things come up to be our personality. Now, this personality that we have developed or we have taken upon, it influences how we think, how we feel, how we behave, how we even relate with people, whether in the workplace, in friends, in family, wherever we find ourselves. And so if you don't know who you are in the first place, you are not self-aware of yourself, it will be difficult for you to relate with people because you don't even know what you're doing. You don't know who you are in the first place. And so for personality, it is very important for each and everybody to understand ourselves individually and then understand the people that have surrounded themselves with you. Now, it becomes a problem when situations or the environment makes it difficult for people to, be who they are. And so people sometimes end up pretending. That is where the problem, stems from. Once somebody pretends, you would not know that this person is this character or that character. So it becomes very difficult when you are dealing with such a person. However, if the person knows who he are or who she is, it becomes very easier. Right. But if the pretense come in, that's where the workplace and the family makes it very difficult. Thank you, Nico.
Right, great insights as well. Now I think I have Jeffrey now. Jeffrey, welcome. Hello, Jeffrey. Hello, Jeffrey. Okay. All right, we'll try to bring Jeffrey back into the conversation. But thank you very much, Lydia, and also Mary, for sharing those insights. Now, Lydia, let me come to you. How can someone use personality insights to choose the right career or even switch careers when they are burned out?
Now, let me say... Okay.
Just before that, I think we need to let people understand what the temperaments are. Even
exactly.
And then now we can narrow it down. So I think I have Jeffrey over the phone lines.
Great.
Hello, Jeffrey.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Jeffrey, welcome. Thank you very
so much, and good morning to your listeners once again.
Yeah, good morning.
Sorry about the pictures.
That's okay. All right. So, Jeffrey, I was picking your thoughts on how understanding your own personality or temperament shapes the way you work or your work style.
Oh, okay. So, the issue about temperament and personality and how it shapes an individual with regards to the place of work. It's a conversation that has been going on for a very long time. And I appreciate your team's efforts to bring the public into the known.
Right.
So let me just begin this from a very broad perspective. Temperament can be found under personality traits. So let me start by telling the listeners what personality is. I believe we all know, or I have a personality of this sort. Prince, Justice have a personality of that sort. Madam Mary equally have a personality of some sort. So what are personalities? These are unique characteristics or traits that are peculiar to an individual. And these traits tend to be very stable for a very long time. Now, in the organization, it is also very important to understand that given people's predispositions, what I mean by predispositions, that giving people innate or tendencies, there are certain traits they are likely to exhibit as compared to other people. So there's no way you find two people behaving at the same time or behaving in a similar manner. So in the workplace, if you find an individual, I'm going to speak in a very layman's term before I try to use it technical language. So in a layman's perspective, okay, when you visit a banking hall and the first person you're supposed to meet is a receptionist, and this individual is very bubbly. See, she'll be like, "Oh, hello, good morning, sir. How are you doing?" You tend to, regardless of how you feel, you tend to vibe. Let's use the Gen Z language. You tend to vibe based on the energy you just received from the receptionist. Now, when it comes to I'm going to juxtapose that with temperaments and personality. When it comes to temperament, okay, you would have people who are sanguine, you have people who are choleric, you have people who are phlegmatic, okay? So the sanguine, you actually would find that the sanguine is somebody who is more sociable, who is very enthusiastic, who is lively. So that person sees you like, oh, hello, they are easygoing, they really can make friends. So somebody working like that in the front desk can do the job without stress so easily. So they seem like, oh, hello, Prince, how was your day? How can I be of service? And they say it's so easy, you know, without any hustle, it comes naturally. And with some training, you find that this person is just top-notch, flawless. You love to interact with this person. You understand? So that is some of the ways in which temperaments interplay at the workplace. If you're unfortunate and you find somebody who is like a melancholy, okay, this person is so anti-soul, something like that. Is very sensitive, very perfectionist, somebody who is very analytical.
Right.
This person would like to sit behind the computer. You know, they are really good and stuff like that. Okay, so this person would like to sit behind the computer and, you know, just focus and get a job done, move to the next, focus, get a job done, move to the next, focus, get a job done, move to the next. So you have this person working as a context person, right? What the person is to the person is like, okay, what's your problem? How can I solve it? So fast.
Right.
And the way the person might speak, you might feel like, oh, this person is a bit good. But this person is seeing this like, oh, you have a problem and I'm trying to address the problem. You understand? So temperament and personality team collaboration in so many ways that we actually would want to admit. So yeah, that's my take. That's my opening for this.
Right. Great stuff. Thank you very much. Now let me come back to Lydia. Please hold on for me. Let me come back to Lydia. Now, Lydia, I was asking you that how can someone use their personality traits or insights to choose the right career or even switch careers?
So I like the fact that Jeffrey, I highlighted on the popular, the ones we
traits,
usually know, the
temperament,
traits. So let's say I'm Lydia. Let me use myself as a practical example, right? So I started my career journey as a marketer. And I think yesterday my director made a comment and said, you are even greater at marketing than HR. And I know why she said that, because yes, I'm that type, right? So I know I am, my sanguine is dominating my phleg.
Okay.
And one thing that we have to also understand is that you may have two or more of these personality traits. It's not always like this. One would dominate the other, right? So I understand I'm sanguine and phleg, right? But the sanguine dominates. And I know that this is who I am. I have come to understand. So being self-aware is key in understanding who you are. So I understand this. Now, I can smile, I can be hello, I can be very quiet and also very reserved at a point in time, right? So I understand this. Now, it is notable that HR professionals or people who are really good at HR, majority are phlegmatics. But those who become best at it are sanguine phlegs. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you are phleg, it means that you are quiet, you are reserved. And you are not that person that will be, exchanging. But if you are sanguine, you are all over the place. You are people's person. People feel comfortable talking to you, coming to you all the time. So this actually didn't start from scratch. I have to come to the realization and understand myself. And then based on that, I think it actually shaped my career decisions, because initially, if you ask me, I wanted to be a bank manager. Initially, when growing up, if you ask me, I want to become, it got to a time I was like selecting my MBA. Should I do in marketing or HR? But when I realized that this is me, then it becomes easier. So that is number one. I have actually coached over 500 professionals, and then mostly someone will be. There's a lady, she was actually into a PR, okay, and then she got in touch with me, and she was actually at the mid-career level. So she got in touch with me, and then I have to sit her down. She wasn't happy. She was depressed, she was stressed, emotional, everything. And she said, I've been doing this for almost 10 years, Lydia, and I feel like this is not me. Is it late to at least consider something else? So we had a conversation, and I got to understand that, she's a PR, but she's not that person. Okay. That's not her personality. Right. She's actually good with mathematics. She's analytical. Oh, okay. So she's more a melancholic in person than what she's actually doing. And so I have to actually understand her, who she is, and then we all came to that consensus where we got that actually she has to do something in with ICAG. She's now a chartered accountant, and she's doing really well. Really well. But one thing that we should also understand is that in as much as maybe you've been doing this for a while, you may think it's your thing. I started as I'm a mathematics person than reading. Okay. As I sit here, I'm more mathematically inclined than reading. Right. But you realize that there are some things that comes effortlessly. You realize that this resonates with you. So when she came to that realization, and she went through a bit of coaching, she was able to actually know where she should tailor her rest of life or career life to. And so today she's thriving, and she can actually do a bit of PR on the side, but that is what she feel comfortable. That is what resonates with her, and that is the bit of it. So it starts from maybe understanding the person, who she is in terms of your personality, what is dominating here. What is dominating here? And I talk to people. Someone said, Madam Lydia, I want to quit my job. I'm a receptionist. And I understand the person. We talk, and by the time you realize, this person is not that, she's not supposed to be in the public. Right. She's not that type. She's a bit reserved. The background person. But because there is no job, or there are no jobs, she just take whatever she has, and she's just moving along that ladder. Right. So yes, it is very key to analyze yourself or assess yourself when selecting the kind of job you want to do. Yes, we understand. Sometimes you can go around it, but if you get to that realization, kindly pause and get some kind of support to help you in the next step of decision to take in terms of your career.
And it's never too late.
It's never too late. It's never too late. I have people, my mentor, right? Dr. Jeff Bassi, I'll mention him. Yeah. So Dr. Jeff Bassi had a conversation with me not long ago. And when we were having a conversation, he said, Lydia, I've been doing HR for a while, but I'm now into full leadership. I realized that leadership is me, and leadership is my thing. Right. Why am I saying that? He's built something HR, but he's doing leadership. He can do it effortlessly without thinking, without, suffering. It comes easy. Right. He's time for leadership, and that is him. At this peak of his career, he's doing that. So it is never too late, but it starts now. Don't wait for tomorrow. That is why this conversation is really important. Right. Yes. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you so much. Let me come to you, Mary. Now, Mary, you are an HR manager, and so you should be able to speak to this very, very well. Now, a lot of people hire based on skills. They want to, most HRs hire for skills. Do you think that it should be about skills or personalities?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, me, for the question. So when it comes to hiring, we normally hire for fit. Now, as Lydia was saying, somebody can really do well or perform well when the person is a customer service person. But the person may not perform well if you put that person in an HR position. Right. So it is not really about the skills, but it is who fits for this particular job. Now, when we come to the workplace, there are 5 things that we look at in terms of outcome. The first one is performance. The second one is attitude. The third one is morale. The fourth one is motivation. And the last one is competencies. Now, all of these 5 things are based on people. Without people, there will not be performance. Without people, we can't even talk about morale. Without people, we can't talk about competencies and all the others. And so when we are talking about hiring, It is always about who fits this particular job, because at the end of the day, we want the organization to be successful. We want the organization to achieve its goals. So who is fit for what? It's like, let's use the human body for an example. The eye cannot perform what the nose is doing.
Right.
The nose cannot perform what the hand is doing. Likewise, all the other parts of the body. And so if you come into the organization, that is how it is. Whoever is the eye is the one who should be put there. Whoever would act like the hand is the one who should be in that position. Whoever would carry the organization to another level, that is the leg, that is where the person should be. So it's normally about who fits this particular role when we come to the organization. Thank you, Neil.
All right. So it should be about fit than personality fit than skills. Lydia, you have something to add to that?
Yes. So during recruitment, as HR professionals, as HR managers, one key thing is about, as Mary said, who fit in. Aside that, that is why in today's recruitment process, it is really important for assessments such as personality test. So aside the interviews, aside all the other processes, in getting the right fit for the role, we have to also look at the personality that fits in the role.
Okay.
And in doing that, that is why we actually use some of these personality assessments to help us understand. So people may do well in the interview room, people may do well in all that, but immediately the person takes that personality test, then you see that, wow, there's something we never got to understand with this person if he or she hasn't gone through this personality test. And so it is not enough. That is why people hire, and then at the end, it's like they made a mistake. We thought she was like that, but when she came in, why? She's become a bit of dull. She's not giving us the energy we want. But if you have done this personality test, it will help you. I have actually done recruitment before, and if it hadn't been the personality assessment, would have gone in for the wrong candidate.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is to us HR professionals, is to us HR managers and career coaches to also help make it easier to get the right person for the job.
But how do you screen for personality fit? How do you know that this is the kind of person? Because most people don't know their own traits and their own personality. So how do you find out?
Yeah, so we find there is a test. There are a lot of assessment tests.
I've been to a lot of interviews. I haven't seen.
That is why it's a wake-up call. But good organizations do that. Banks do that.
Doesn't mean I haven't been to a good organization.
Oh no, please. I'm sorry about that, but I'm trying to say that
okay.
Organizations that actually want to understand the 100 degrees, like the full dimension of who we are bringing on board, will want to understand the personality of the person, right? So what I'm trying to say is that you go through that test. I applied for a role in an energy company, company into energy that, and then I passed through the first interview, the second interview, and the third interview was personality traits. It really exposed me, and I was happy I went through that because I felt like they wanted somebody that they can dominate. Let's say me, if I'm HR professional, I'm for the employee and for the employer. So after the test, they realized that I'm not that person that I will just take yes or no all the time. I can tell you that this is wrong and we cannot do. So they wanted to understand a lot of things about me after the test. And I at the end, I wasn't the right fit for the role. Not because they realized that the culture, the company culture. So this personality test also helped you understand if the person fits into your company or organization culture. So it is a wake-up call, right? Especially for some key roles. Okay, if you are bringing a customer service person, if you are bringing somebody to help you get people into your organization, give them that warmth, give them that welcome. Why won't you do that? because I mean, she's going to drive your clients away, right?
Yeah.
You can't bring someone to be in the media in the face of people, and the person is not really engaging.
Right.
You get it? Yes. So it's really important that we are having this conversation today. Right. And as HR myself, I plead with my colleagues and everyone out there to make sure that we actually use this as an assessment tool in getting the right candidates.
Right. Okay, Jeffrey, I'm going to come to you very soon. But Mary, I think you have something to say.
Yes, Nee. So in addition to that as well, so where you mentioned that, you've been to an organization where they didn't have this personality test. Now, sometimes what happens is that in the job description, you are going to see a caveat like this. The type of personality you are looking for is embedded in the job description. So they are going to tell you, we are looking for ABCD candidates who can do this and that and that and that. And so one way or the other, they have given the idea of the type of person they are looking out for. So that is also another way of knowing who the organization is looking for. Again, aside the job description, when you come, in fact, if you are fortunate enough to, be called for an interview, during the interview, there are some questions that they ask, they are really testing you to know the type of person in terms of personality or your personality traits. They ask some questions that for you will think it's just an interview question.
Right.
But those at the other side of the table, they know that these particular questions are to know who this particular person is. So that's just, to add up to all that has been discussed.
Well, I think you're right, because I've seen interviews where they try to push the person to the wall just to test their anger level and all of that. And I think that could qualify as one of the things you're talking about. All right, let me come to you, Jeffrey. Now, Jeffrey, in your experience, how do temperament clashes actually show up in team dynamics? And maybe if you can tell us, what exactly is the root cause?
Okay, hi. Thank you so much, friends. Before I continue, I heard you mention that you haven't been to any organization where a personality assessment has been conducted for you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so personality assessment usually is done scientific compared to others. If you're hiring for an organization, it is not allowed that there are certain, you cannot use temperament as the basis or as a tool for recruiting. Why? Because temperament origin is not so scientific. You understand? So given these things, there are certain specialized tools, or assessments that psychometricians, or let me just say industrial and organizational psychologists, have access to. They liaise with some HR organizations or some HR experts, and then do these things in recruiting of their human resource.
Right.
Now, when you talk about temperament clashes, the keynote here is very important that even as every organization, you can be a high-performing organization, you can be a startup. The most important thing is for diversity. It's for diversity. Prince, you agree with me that if the whole world was made up of people like you, just people like you, who think like you, who behave like you, would the world be a better place? I'll leave that one for you to answer that question. Do you honestly believe that if the world was full of people like Princes, the world would be a better place?
Not at all.
Why?
I mean, like you mentioned, diversity, there needs to be different kinds of people.
Exactly. So as HR practitioners or people in the HR field, it's important that when these selections are being done, they should understand that there needs to be a well balanced of these personality traits to form a team. Because if we have somebody who is very analytical, on my team, I have the sanguine, the person who is able to think outside the box, who is very creative. I have the analytical person, I have the high focus person, I have the detail-oriented person who is always seeking to be a professional. I have a blend of these traits coming together to form a team. What this means is that I'll be reaping more than an organization who just have, say, 5 teams make up of high-performing individuals who are dominant in their personality traits. So I'm going to speak about personality type A, type B, and type X. Now, type A is more dominant, okay? And a type A person is somebody who has traits have various traits, from somebody who is very dominant to somebody who is very analytical to somebody who is very sociable. But then the level of dominance, level of sociability, level of analytical varies. But you see the more dominant one as being more authoritative, more dominant. Such an individual, okay? If you put that individual on the front desk, like I said, a type B personality trait is an individual who is more so. The main dominant to this person is his social skills. It's the type of leader everybody dreams of, everybody wants to work with, because they have a well-balanced type of both A and both B. The way they behave is contingent on the situation. The way they behave, the way they lead, the way they drive their team is contingent on what they're actually facing. So in a team, if you have somebody with a type X personality trait, this is what will happen. If they realize that Kojo is speaking a language and Abena does not understand the language Kojo is speaking, Kojo might be saying the same thing from his personality as somebody who is very domineering. I want this to be done in a particular way. Abba will take an offense because it feels like Kofi did not liaise the message well. So even though we are choosing or we are selecting our resources, individuals based on personality traits, it is very important that I'll add 2 variables, social intelligence and emotional intelligence. We cannot do away with these things, because somebody can be very playful, can be very cheerful, and you put this person at the front desk. But if this individual does not understand social intelligence or does not understand emotional intelligence to a certain degree, and I come into your office, high-pressed, racing against time, and I want you to attend to a particular need, and you start smiling at me, and you start giving me the whole long process of, oh, good morning, sir, I hope you're having a wonderful day. No matter how sweet you are, that information, I will not welcome that information as very sweet, because I'm very pressed for time, and I've put a request to me. It is important for you to read the room, understand who your customer is, and how you're able to relate. So I love I love the topic about temperament and personality traits, but at the backdrop of it is something very, very important. That is social intelligence and emotional intelligence. What is happening in your current surrounding? You will find yourself in the workplace. Exercise a high level of professionalism. I'm not saying be a mind reader, but keep things confined within a place you can manage.
Okay.
So back to the question of diversity I hope I'm not taking too much time.
Okay, just wrap up in 30 seconds for us.
Okay. So back to the question of diversity. When we are recruiting, or when HR managers are recruiting, it is always important, okay, for them at the backdrop of looking for, I know there are certain metrics that they use, okay, in recruiting a person who is fit for the job. But at the backdrop of all these, it's very important that even though you might not give an individual a job, if some level of awareness can be created, even through orientation, even through before an individual is actually given the job, you give people case studies, case scenarios. In your case, for instance, you might think it's not a personality assessment. You can be given a room full of people and they ask you to go and sit down. But an IO psychologist the cameras around, an IO psychologist might be planted over there to see the way you are behaving with an individual, to see how you're talking to an individual, to see how you're relating with other people. And they begin to note down who you are as a person. So indirectly, by observation, a personality assessment test has already begun once you step foot into the organization. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So essentially, once we understand the different kinds of people in the organization, we are able to do away with all the conflicts and things that we we find in there. Now, let me come to you, Lydia. How do you help employees or clients actually work with bosses whose temperaments or personality traits are totally opposite theirs?
Great. A good question. One thing about us as human beings is understanding our fellow human beings.
Right.
So your bosses. I've worked with bosses, like really straight bosses. Someone say, Lydia, come. One is saying, don't go. And you are there.
Right.
So people have bosses. We can never be the same. As we stated categorically from the onset that personality is your unique trait, your unique.
Right.
So we are not the same. If you understand that, you have to learn how to stay with them.
Okay.
And how do we do this? If I know that my boss is somebody who, when angry, will be shouting at everybody, will I go and be talking to him when he's angry? No. So you have to also look at all the traits and then know when to come in and when to pause. Right. So it is all about emotional intelligence.
Okay.
Understanding your emotions and understanding the emotions of other people. There are times that my boss is serious and talking to me and say, Lydia, don't laugh. I'm not joking. It's not that I'm laughing. I'm always like this. So you see how, and I'm saying I'm not smiling. And when I'm saying I'm not smiling, I'm actually even smiling the more. So, that kind of thing, you understand that this person, you can't take this thing away from him or her. We try as much as possible as HRs to put you through some kind of training. It can be emotional intelligence to help you become. So if you are sanguine, we help you become more assertive, to be more assertive, right? And then to be more detailed oriented. Not because you are all over the place. We give you the document, you are not paying attention to it. So we can actually help you through training, tailored training based on what we want to. So yes, your boss can also go through some training to understand how to handle or deal with people. We know that a lot of people are in leadership positions that they actually have to work on how to live or stay or manage people.
Right.
So as the individual, you know that I'm angry. When you are angry, you don't sound okay. You don't treat people well. So what do? You excuse yourself.
Okay.
I have worked with a boss whom, when I'm going to discuss anything work related, you say, Lydia, this is not a good time. Can you come again? You get it. She understands herself that she's not in her mood right now. So if you can do it another time. So yes, you can also actually observe the people you work with, your boss, and then all other people you work with. I'm an HR, I'm the manager. I work with people. I have to also understand other people's behaviors. And so I can emotionally train myself to know when to pause, when to speak to them and all that. At the end, we are one people. At the end, we can never be the same. At the end, your traits and my traits add up to bring to the organization where the organization wants to see him or herself in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years in line with their strategic plan. So yes, we can't all be the same. Right. Yeah. So these are some of the things you can actually train, you can actually observe, and also know when to come in. It helps reduce tension in the workplace.
Okay. All right. Let me come to you, Mary. Mary, so tell me, how do you, I mean, of course, when in the workplace, there are people that are often understood by other people.
Great.
How do you ensure that your team members actually understand themselves and they are able to work? Because I've led teams, and when I was doing the business brief, I shared that I've led teams where people are completely different, and it's difficult for me as a leader to handle them. How do you do that as a leader? How do you make sure that these people are able to work together? Mary.
Okay, thank you for that. So just like we have been saying right from the beginning, we are all different from different backgrounds. And then because of one goal or one mission, we have found ourselves in the workplace. And so when it comes to teams, whether we like it or not, there will be different people. And these people would not be the same. So if that happens, for you to have a very good, thriving team, we have to ensure that the people forming the team understand each other. Because let's say you put 2 or 5 sanguine people in the same team, it wouldn't work. It will get to a time that they would not agree on certain things.
Right.
But when there are mixed traits, mixed personalities, disagreement here and there, but at the end of the day, you realize that the goal will be achieved. So I remember there was a time that I happened to be part of a team. We went for a training program, and then there was this particular team member. He's very good, sincerely, but because of the sort of personality he is, I wouldn't want to give much details. So it got to a time that you realize he's those people that always want to be in the limelight. Like, even if it's a good thing, he would want to own up to it and all that. So what happened was that conflict started, arising because there was disagreement. This lady would tell me, okay, Cha, you see this person, this, that, and that, and that. And then we did the work together, and he's making it portray as if he's the only one who did it here and there, So what I did was I had to bring all of them together and have a conversation. And honestly, when I had the conversation with that particular guy, in fact, he didn't even know he was doing that, or hurting people with what he was doing. So yes, in teams, we should have different people for the goal to be achieved. But sometimes it's all about communication, because the person may not know what he or she is doing or how he or she is hurting the other party. So it's about communication, it's about understanding each other. Thank you, Neil.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you very much, Mary. Let me hear from you, Jeffrey, on this one. Our time is almost up. I don't know where the time went to, but anyway. So, Jeffrey, tell me, what tools or frameworks would you recommend to help individuals and leaders identify their own temperaments? Hello, Jeffrey. Okay. All right. Lydia, are you able to help with that?
Okay.
So I'm asking that what tools or maybe frameworks would you recommend to help individuals and leaders identify their own temperament?
So you have to, first of all, if you understand who you are, like you are self-aware of yourself, you should know you can be quick-tempered. You should know. So when you know all these things, first you have to getting over something comes with knowing it, that I am weak at this. That is the first point of change.
Right.
Then you have to, if you need career coaching, you have to talk to someone. You have to speak with experts, a psychologist, a career coach, and then understand whether your perception is actually in line with what the person is saying, the expert is saying. Then when you are done, we can profile solutions. It can be a training. You can be put on a training that can help you, like counseling, coaching, to help you become a better version of yourself or to improve upon your current state. It can also be just changing your environment, right? So it all depends on the kind of traits or the kind of weakness you have seen, and then the solution that can be profiled to you. Aside that, there are times we encourage people to take some of these psychometric tests to know who they are, because a lot of people, if you ask them who you are, they are not able to actually tell whether they are A or B or C. So we encourage, some of the tests are free online. You can just Google and then try your hands on to see the outcome thereof. At least it helps you understand yourself. Even if you think you understand yourself, sometimes you can take some of these tests to know whether what you are thinking is actually the case and where you feel the force sure. Because, I mean, we always have to bridge the gap. We always have to become a better version of ourselves.
Right.
So understanding yourself and looking for solutions to become a better version of yourself is part of growth. It's part of learning. It's part of, being a better version of yourself. So
right.
there are a lot of ways to, there are a lot of frameworks or strategies that one can use to become a better version of him or herself.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So they can take the tests online and all of that,
yes,
right?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
great. Okay. Let's try and wrap up. Let me come back to you, Mary. I think we lost Jeffrey there, and so let me talk to you, Mary, on this one. What one practical thing can a leader do this week to begin aligning team roles to temperaments? Mary.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so as a leader, if you want to align your team in terms of temperament, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to leave anybody listening to me or any leader listening to me with 3 things. The first one is to identify, the second one is to understand, and the third one is to appreciate. If you want to align your teams, teach the team or your people to identify themselves and to identify the temperament and the personality of the others. After they identify, help them to understand themselves. You cannot live with people, or you cannot do anything if you as the individual do not understand yourself. After understanding yourself, they should be able to understand the other person, because like I mentioned earlier, I cannot say Ni should behave and act like me, because we are different, from different background, from different culture. So they should be able to understand each other. And then the last one is to appreciate. So they should appreciate themselves and their personality or their temperament, and also appreciate the others. If you don't appreciate your team member, the temperament or personality of your team member, that is where conflict will arise. So these 3 things, I believe, will help each leader or each person when you want to align your team. All right. Thank you, Neil.
Right. Okay. Let me come to you, Lydia, on the same thing. Is there anything you'd want to advise a leader?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to advise, if you are a CEO, you are a leader, you champion people, you are with people. First of all, try to let them understand what team cohesion and team building is. Also, help them know that there's something called personality adaptation, where we can adapt to each other based on where each other falls short, right? So one thing I want to leave with everybody is that if you put people in a team, you can do some team assessments through tasks, other things, and also enforcing what we stand for. So I can just come to you and say, what do we stand for here? Because organization culture is also the way of life of that organization. And what do you also stand for? And based on these 2 analysis, you are able to tell, okay? And then how people behave in team, you can also be able to tell. When you are able to do all this, that is observation.
Right.
You are observing the people you work with. You are understanding the people you work with. And when you have understood, what's next?
Okay.
The next thing is help them become a better version.
Right.
Through training, through training on emotional intelligence, tolerance, understanding people, communication, help them become okay, so that they can come together as one to help you achieve the organization goals. Yes.
Okay. All right, Leah, finally on you. Let's say there's somebody listening to us who is struggling in their team to be able to manage with handle all the other differences. How can they advocate for themselves without sounding like they are against other personality differences?
Okay, so I want you to know that if you are listening to me, you are not alone. You are not alone. But one thing that is very important is realizing it. So now you know, how do you go about it? Don't flare up on the people. Don't blame other people for whatever is happening. I want you to actually get it right from you, and then what you want. Okay, sometimes when you feel like you want to blame other people for what you are, you will never get to the solution. So analyze it within, and then get ways of improving upon yourself to become a better version. Don't just voice out and be angry and be shouting at people. That wouldn't solve the solution.
Right.
So just understand that this is it. Okay, how do I become better? When can I improve upon myself? How can I improve upon myself? If maybe every day you are working and you are not seen, right? You can be doing all the good work, but nobody knows that you are the one doing it. You can actually put it into writing. You can document what you do, because you are not that person that in a meeting you raise your hand and be talking and doing empty barrels. Sometimes make the most noise or always. So you are always quiet. So every day the praise goes to someone, but you know that you are the one doing the work. So document what you are doing. You can do it in the form of reports. It can be in the form of short write-up, and then you share with your boss via email that this are some, because you are not that person who will be saying it in the meeting.
Everywhere, right?
Yeah, so yeah.
Okay. All right, Lydia, thank you very much. Let me hear from you, Mary, finally, maybe your final words, and then we can go. Mary.
Okay, so my final word to each person listening to me is that personality is very important. You have to know you have to know the other person, but one thing that is very important is for you to know your triggers. Let me use myself as an example. There was a time that I was in a place, I was working in a place, and I realized that the people, because some of them are a bit older, so it's like they want to be like parent, child, or little sister kind of relationship. And so sometimes some of them end up being, let me not, for lack of better word, my apologies, disrespectful, So what I did was I started reading a book on emotional intelligence, because I realized I wasn't having it at a point, So when I realized that thing is trying to trigger me, to react in a certain way, I started to, read about how to relate with them and all that. So as an individual, it's very important for you to know your triggers. Okay. And again, aside the triggers, one advice I would also give is to take care of yourself. Sometimes we don't take care of ourselves as individuals. So we sometimes act out of character. Probably that's not how we are, but I reacted because I'm stressed. I reacted because, there's anxiety, or I was talking out of pain and all that. So take care of yourself as an individual. It is very important. Your mental health is very important. So these are the two things I will leave with our audience.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mary. And let me come to you, Lydia, finally.
Okay, so finally, I want to say that your personality is you, and you are your power. So don't take it for granted.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, ladies. And earlier on we had Jeffrey also join us. So that was Miss Lydia Kwesing. She is a career coach, and Mary Ekia Ahin Maldazi, HR Respect, and also Jeffrey Boachi. He's a life coach, industrial and organizational psychologist. And these are the three individuals who joined me on the roundtable discussion today. One thing is certain, that your personality has a role in the work that you do. And also as leaders, you need to know the personalities of your workers or the people under you, so that you'll be able to treat them well and relate with them very, very well. You need to know your own personality as well, your personality type as well, so that you can help them very well. Well, that will be all for today's edition of the Business Breakfast on Zed. We're back again tomorrow for the holiday edition of the Business Breakfast on Zed. Yeah, it's going to be something light, but something very educative and informative. So you don't want to miss that. My name is Nitrebi Hammond, and I'll see you tomorrow. When you think Ghana, please think Zed. See you.